In a world crying out for a top 10 show, John Roca and Matt Nost are here to bring you the top 10. Brought to you by the Schmoes Know. Take it away, boys. Welcome, everybody, to this week's edition of the Top 10 Show. I am John Roca.
I'm Matt Nost.
And this week we are welcoming a very special guest to the show.
Very special.
It's a guy
Exceedingly so.
I met this guy a long time ago when I
get a little more special every day.
Well, we'll build it up.
Yeah.
We'll create the special. Don't you worry.
I met him a long time ago when I was first getting into stuff and doing things as a freelance person and kind of exploring this world of punditry and talking about stuff. And it was in the old Jedi Alliance that was at AfterBuzz. And I came and met Mike when we were doing the Kenner action figures. Like, I think it was either we were
perfect man to talk to.
Yeah,
we were putting man to talk to.
And I like research, because back then, like, I researched everyone, right? Because I was like, oh my god, what do I got to know? And Mike had such an interesting background and interesting knowledge, this kind of stuff. I was like, oh man, this is going to be a tough guy to beat, because we had to put up our figures in against each other in some kind of tournament and then vote and do the
I forgot. Yeah,
with Scrimshaw was on
that fucking deficit from the jump.
Exactly,
and the stakes were very high. You lost a finger.
Yeah,
if you lost,
really.
Yes.
Wow. AfterBuzz turned really dark after I left.
Well, it was at night, so
they had a bag of ice ready, so we all got them back. But you know, it was.
Did it end up in like a Lebowski situation? Somebody needed a toe, so you got him a toe.
I bet
Here's where it comes from. Exactly, supply and demand.
Yeah.
So you guys didn't know it. I have to assume the Yakuza is involved in that.
Yeah, definitely.
It seems like something they would do.
Star Wars action figure podcast.
Well, just they're the behind the scenes. That's where the money's coming from. That's why they're taking a finger. It's an honor system.
Hamoto-san has brought in Prune Face to defend his honor.
He has lost. Harikari.
Yeah. Dishonored my family.
Anyway, so that's when I first met him. But we followed each other, and I have seen. It's incredible the knowledge he has on toys, and knowledge he has about the stuff on this side of the fence in terms of Star Wars and all that kind of stuff. So it's just been fun to watch Mike. And then when Matt suggested him, I was like, oh, this is great. I haven't seen him in so long. We usually don't go out of the sphere of the people we know.
Right.
So to get Mike in here is a very special gift. And
I owe you an apology, because I occasionally send you emails that are meant for Jerry Rocha.
Yes.
Who also collects action figures.
Yes.
And so I'll alert him to sales about action figures that he doesn't care about.
I didn't know Jerry was into that as well.
Yeah.
I'll go, that's nice. I don't know what
I know
is all about at all.
I don't know how this helps
Sounds
me.
good.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that a lot for a sand trooper? I don't know.
Well, it depends, guys.
Yeah.
It depends.
It really does.
What shape is this in?
Yeah.
This is in mint condition.
Yeah. Is it actually still in the packaging? How does the packaging look?
Are they calling them sand people? Because now that's politically incorrect.
Oh, well, that's true.
They're supposed to call them Tusken Raiders now.
Did it actually say sand people?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it said the first ones that came out, the old Kenners were sand people.
Yes.
Yes.
Which I don't think is a negative.
No,
It's not, but
it's where they lived and they were people.
They were people.
What else do you call them? They're people of the sand.
Right.
People
live in a jungle.
As part of their vocalization is that of a braying donkey.
Yeah,
it's something like that. It's actually a dog. Like this could add up to something.
They're not garbage
Especially
people. They're sand people,
Especially where Lucas went later on.
If they were the crap people.
Yeah.
Lucas of all
purely like,
people.
wow, this is veiled racism. Right?
Yeah.
This is impressive.
Not even veiled.
No,
have you ever faced a Jedi before? Talk about the Yakuza Star Wars
Slitted
podcast.
eyes, and you're like,
holy
Jesus
crap.
Christ.
Yeah. Or what?
I remember when I first saw that scene with Newt Gunray and those guys, I honestly thought, this is brilliant. He's going to pull back and show that this is like what the Empire watches on their days off, is this kind of racist crap. And he didn't do that. And I was like, oh no.
He doubled down.
Yeah, I got like,
later on, you're like, ooh.
such a sinking feeling when I saw that. I was like, oh, he's serious.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, Watto was the one. I was like, ooh.
Yeah,
What killed me is when they cut
Watto
to
Jar Jar, for God's
Well,
sake.
Jar was the
Jar.
obvious one, but he kept
Yeah.
going.
they cut to I think it was a female of the Trade Federation, and she just has like the one line, and it was so over the top.
Yeah.
Because theirs was like a dignified, and hers seemed more like a breakfast at Tiffany's almost. And you're like,
Right.
oh, and they just cut real quick, and that was smart. That was smart.
I'm surprised you didn't. I apologize. Men are speaking. I should be quiet now.
Anyway, it's Mike Black. Welcome
Oh
to
yeah,
the show.
yeah. That's
Yeah,
my
I met
name.
Mike in comedy.
Yeah. Can you
Oh,
tell-
yeah.
When did
Yeah.
you meet Mike?
10 years ago.
I think when I first met you, I
was La Jolla.
accused you of being a drifter. That I was like, you're trying to infiltrate the comedy scene. You're obviously a drifter that's here to kill someone.
When you met me, I was still a drunk, so I could have been sitting there going, "This guy's on to me."
He was, yeah, he was
I
like,
am a sham.
He knows. You know. You said, it doesn't matter who I am. It matters who my friend Ben Franklin is. Now leave me alone.
Dear God, that was like my
And I
freaking-
did.
all my store shifts for a week and a half right there. Fuck, there's I don't know if I got rent money. It was worth it though. I didn't have to.
Yeah.
I drift no more.
Yeah, you finally found a place to stop drifting.
Yeah, you know the sagebrush hit a wall eventually. Just like, this is where I'm gonna be. I'm fine with that.
I'm done being a Rolling Stone.
Yes, it's time. Let's gather.
Settle
some
down,
moss.
have some kids. And get,
I finally watched the Tiffany Haddish stand up that she has on Showtime or Cinemax, whatever.
Oh, yeah?
I had no idea she was living out of her car and homeless for that long. And Kevin Hart was the one who got her going back into a situation where she could end up, being able to afford things. And
How did
build
he
her
find her? Was she parked like where he wanted to park or something?
life. She would live out of her car. She would shower. She would get woken up at 7 a.m. because the police would come and wake her up. She was in a green Geo, and so she over in Beverly Hills. She would only park and sleep in Beverly Hills, and apparently she drove, and all her shit was in a car. So she drove up to the Comedy Store one time when Kevin was still doing sets and building his stuff.
Yeah.
He saw inside her car, and he's like, "What the fuck? What's going on here?" Tiffany's trying to blow it off and going like, "Get the fuck out of my business! Not your business!" Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Kevin cornered her afterwards and said, "Listen, you can't live like this. You got to figure things out." Blah blah blah. She gave her $300, and then from there she figured some stuff out. And then someone called. They got a day or two later because Kevin called them, and they got her a place in Crenshaw. And so it was like
The place?
something.
Wow,
It was something.
yeah.
And so from there she built up through connections and networking, whatever, to where she is.
To be
now.
fair, if I lived in Crenshaw, I would still drive my car to Beverly Hills to
Yeah,
sleep.
sleep there. It's not a bad
That's right.
idea.
Yeah.
Well, at least for us.
Yeah,
You know?
for me.
For us, it's probably a little bit different for her.
Yeah, my version of hard times was having to shop at the dollar store like 2 weeks in a row. I was like, oh, this is horrible. How do people live like this?
I hit up one time. So Burns,
Yeah,
Chris
Chris Burns.
Burns. You know Chris Burns?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. He grew up roughly in that area, and I had to go down there. My wife found a deal for a good ice machine. He's like, "Listen, just drive down there." It was at night. Just go to the guy's house and then just drive out, and you'll be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
She's like, "You don't need to stop
Nothing
anywhere."
to
And I
panic
was like,
over. Yeah.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I'm just
Yeah.
simple guideline, little game plan. But I would sleep in Beverly Hills as well. I know
Yeah.
plenty of comics that slept in their cars for
Oh, yeah.
long time on
That's
end.
the thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a normal. Jim Carrey, his whole family lived in a car together.
Right.
Now they were in
Remember
Canada,
that. Yeah,
where
Canada.
everyone is happy to let you do that. But still, that would be a lot to live like mom, dad, brother, and sister. Your room is your seat.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah.
Dear
That
God.
is hard
Can you
living.
imagine the smell in that fucking
So I'm
car?
saying I couldn't have a roommate now, much less live with a family of 5 in one car to try to survive. I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah, like the kitchen is that hump in the middle. That's where you all have. That's the breakfast nook for everybody.
But now I'm picturing like squalor. They just have one little tub they put out, and they're all just like, I eat from that.
You remember
trough with my hand.
You remember handy snacks? That's breakfast. They're splitting a pack of everyone gets
Lunchable?
one cracker.
Lunchables, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get cracker, one piece of bologna, and a piece of cheese.
Yeah.
One dip of cheese. Yeah.
Enjoy that. That's everything you need. That's protein
Yeah.
and sodium and preservatives. Enjoy that.
That's
Oh
brilliant.
man.
Mike, can you tell people a little bit about yourself? Like what you do?
Sure. Yeah, I still kind of live in squalor, but by choice in Koreatown
Hey-o.
because of rent control. And
It's a thing of beauty.
Koreatown is basically, for those who've never been, if you're a fan of the film Blade Runner, it's kind of like a Blade Runner fantasy camp because there's all sorts of riding from all over the world and neon and a lot of robotic pets and that sort of stuff. It's a lot of fun.
Just no rain. That's the biggest difference.
No rain. Yeah, no rain whatsoever.
But there might be replicants.
Yeah,
You never know.
There's a very good chance of replicants at any given time. But some of the best food in the city, honestly,
Yes.
the Korean barbecue is off the hook. It's so good.
Two just average ones down there. So I go to other places
yeah.
now. I'll hit you up. But maybe
There's
you got a better one.
well, now there's a chain that I like a little bit more, to be honest. That's Japanese barbecue called Gyugaku,
Okay.
and they're right here in Burbank. And any place that allows you to cook your own food and see like how it's prepared and everything,
Oh, yeah.
I'm all for that,
Yeah.
especially in Los Angeles. As for me, I do comedy at the Comedy Store whenever they'll let me. I've been on the road with Andrew Dice Clay, Pauly Shore, John Panette, tons of really cool people. I've hit every state except Hawaii doing stand-up, and that's the one left, and I hope Hawaii sticks around long enough for me to
never
do
know.
that. Yeah,
You never know. They're getting scared.
and and other than that, I am about as nerdy as it gets. Comic books, movies, anything superhero related, I'm super into.
Do you have any of your own show?
Ready Player One felt like it was made just for me. You know, like I was watching it and I was like, I have to call my brother and tell him all this shit. You know, you were asking
Do you
a
have any
question.
shows you host or anything? So that people can follow
Yeah,
you,
I
like-
do a podcast called The Nighttime Show that I just co-host on with Stephen Glickman, and then I do a show with my buddies Andrew DeWitt and Avery Faith called The Power Pals, and
What are the focus of the shows? What are
the Power Pals is basically we start out talking about something nerdy and then just go really off the rails, and it gets real dark and weird and funny. It's very not safe for work.
That's awesome.
Like we started out one week talking about how Mr. T had done a VHS community service sort of video called
legit one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
called Be Cool, Don't Be Somebody's Fool.
Yes.
And it was all about peer pressure.
Beautiful.
And basically what happened was Mr. T, I think, had to do this for some reason.
Yes.
Oh, what is it? Part of the
And
community
they got
service?
like
Yeah, I
8
remember
kids
this.
that were like in the Scared Straight program who had no idea who he was.
Right.
To be in there and just be terrorized by him about the future. But at one point,
meaning it too. That's some shit. That's
Yeah.
That's not acting. That's
No,
just him being like,
these kids were
you
just-
better not get in trouble. Just
Yeah.
screaming at a little 6-year-old. Like,
yeah, you think I'm kidding? Watch the thing.
Oh, I believe it.
He's at a barbecue with him, and this tiny little white boy is sitting next to him, and he looks like he's on the verge of tears. And Mr. T tries to reach out to him, and he goes, "How about some relish on your burger? You want some relish, Billy? Relish, I think this is. Here, how about it?" And the kid's just like, "Okay, whatever you want." And he's just like piling relish onto his plate because he's so terrified that Mr. T will fucking eat him
they
if
got
he
me with
doesn't. You know.
Which is a form of peer pressure, ironically enough.
yeah, exactly.
But so we get into this segment of it where these two girls are doing your mama jokes
Oh, wow.
with each other,
Right.
and Mr. T doesn't care for that at all.
Oh, no, of
he's
course
not.
real
Not a fan.
big on his mama,
Right.
and
Oh,
he was
yes.
like. Her mama ain't here to defend herself. You can't be talking about her mama and stuff. And then the rap music kicks in, and he does a rap about mothers.
Oh, no.
With a mother chorus behind him, singing "Treat her right, you better treat her right." And this was written by a young Ice-T.
What?
Yeah,
Really?
and he does the whole spelling of the word mother. You know, M is for the moans and that she made when I was born.
Oh,
and
my God.
Wow, that,
they're
that
all
took a turn from
kind of
jump.
they're all kind of iffy. Then he gets down to R, and this is where I took umbrage. Where he goes,
raping my mama?
no, it's not quite that. But R is for the room in heaven that I know she'll get. Mr. T's heaven is so shitty that his mom has an efficiency apartment in lower downtown heaven and still has to have a job. You know, she works at like the Ryan Steakhouse in heaven and comes home at night and, you know, works on her bunions. And so that's kind of how the podcast goes. We start off with something very normal-ish, and then just go kind of off into this weird
And that was
land.
the Power Pals?
Yeah, Power Pals podcast.
There you go.
And and that's pretty much all I do besides
Yeah, I see you every once in a while.
eat a lot.
You post your set lists sometimes, like and you're like at 1 a.m. sometimes or 12.
yeah.
Those are the spots
man.
I get.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
interesting. I'm like, man, I don't even know if it'd be funny at 1 o'clock. I'm trying to
The
sleep.
left-handed compliment they give you is they call that the Kinnison spot because that was
I
the
know,
spot he
it's-
used to get.
It's the horse shit of it.
And it was that, he was so funny. He was the only guy who could do that kind of late nights. And what it is you're really there to insure against lawsuits.
Oh.
That, you're there for the overserved that are too drunk to leave to keep them occupied until they sober up.
Right.
But it's a lot of fun because you can't do a set. You kind of have to just do crowd work.
Oh, really?
Because if you try and do like set up punch jokes
Depends.
with real drunk,
You can lead them into it.
Yeah.
It's just like you start talking about something, and it's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, I have bits that are in this realm that you just mentioned. Okay, let me tell you this. And then sometimes I'll even do the, okay, are you guys ready for the next joke? All right, here's the setup. I will just,
Yeah.
I've had jokes fail. The best part is, and then you start deconstructing why it failed,
Yeah.
and they're laughing
Yeah.
at the failure with you. That's fun. Like,
Well, and that's what I mean, though. It's like you can't
figure out ways to get
You
through it.
can't just do a normal set.
Right.
You have to personalize it to
You
them.
have to be yourself.
in some way. Yeah, exactly.
yourself. If you're actually funny, that you can dance.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because you got to play with whatever they're giving you.
Yeah, you have to figure out the energy of the room and go, this is the way we're going. This is what I'm going to do then.
And I will say, you would know, having done this, after you do that, you have kind of a suit of armor doing stand up where the room could be on fire and you're still going to be able to hold the audience's attention.
Right.
At least until they
Dealt with
die.
worse.
So you cut your teeth on it, in
Right,
essence, and see
yeah.
if you got what it takes in a way, and then go from there.
Yeah. And sometimes if you tape those, you can find little nuggets that can become
Oh, nice.
really great bits out
Yeah.
of just talking to people
Something
and
you've
stuff.
never thought about before, and it just pops out like, oh, that's
Yeah.
an interesting concept. Yeah.
How does that work? The taping? Do you guys tape each other when you're there, or how does
I
that
just
work?
do audio.
I just do it. I just put it on the
Oh,
stool.
you do just put it on the stool. Then
Yeah.
I have my iPhone and just
Phones are so inobtrusive.
Yeah,
now,
of course.
If that's a word.
nobody bats an eye
Yeah,
at
it
it.
is. I think it is.
Yeah, that I just leave it up there and do that.
Right.
And I'll tell them I'm doing it if I'm taking too long. I'll be like, I'm trying to tape this, so don't say your names or whatever.
Wow. This is interesting. So, and you have to earn that spot. Even that spot you have to earn, right? They don't
Yeah.
hand out the 12:30 a.m. spot at 1
Yeah.
o'clock. So it's
Yeah.
even that spot you have
Even
to
that there's
audition for, right?
anytime you're doing a spot, even that late, there's 4 guys in the back going, "Oh, I wish I was doing that spot."
Wow. Really? Damn. All right.
Well, when you see somebody, you're like, you're not even trying.
Yeah.
Like, why'd you show up? You just upset that you had the spot? Yes, I've done that too, but it's childish. Fucking
Yeah.
buck up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do a job. Earn
If
your
you
money.
take the spot. you
Yeah.
gotta earn
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
right.
I've seen. There's one I won't say any names, but
Right.
5 minutes up there went. You know what? I'm just not feeling it tonight. What do you guys want to talk about? Like, just really gave up. And
Right.
Yeah.
This was earlier in the night, and you're just like, well, then why did you take that spot?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Someone was killing for that. and
It's
you're up.
11:30 on Friday, and you can't be
Not
bothered to. Yeah,
I
you
saw
know.
that at 10:45.
Oh, man.
Okay, after the 10:30 show started, so they went up, and the crowd is good. They're good
Yeah.
to go.
Oh man,
Just like, well, why? Why
Yeah.
did you do this?
I'd choke that guy. Not to death,
Right,
but like
not to death.
Yeah.
to climax.
Just somebody.
To where it would change his mood at least.
Sure.
Get him a little more excited about life. And
Well, we brought Mike on for this episode. We want to talk about top 10 comic book movie sequels or superhero movie sequels because of
Avengers.
Infinity War coming
yeah.
out, which I found out I'm going to the premiere now Monday night.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so
Very
I gotta find a
Congrats.
fucking suit now, so I gotta figure that out.
I'm sure you'll figure it out.
I don't know. We go to Men's Warehouse usually, I guess, to get a suit. I'm not going to Brooks Brothers, no bullshit like that. I don't have money to spend
Do you
on
not
that.
own it? Do you own a suit?
I own 2 suits, but they're the same suits over and over on them for 3 years.
you can't wear like an Avengers shirt and a blazer or something like that.
yeah, you could.
I'm sure you can get away with that.
Oh, that-
Phone
although
it
do you
in on
lose-
that, you know.
That's a good point, Mike.
Do you
Maybe I'll
lose
just
your
use it.
Just don't wear
impartiality?
any Justice League shit. You
That's
should be all
right.
right. You know?
Superman's my favorite. Get the fuck out. Right.
You don't need a new suit unless you're going to be going to these all the fucking time.
Well, I just went to the Ready Player One premiere, which was great. Steven Spielberg
Yeah.
introduced that, which was awesome.
Oh, wow.
Spielberg, that was
Yeah.
great to be in the room with Spielberg. Even 30 rows back, it was worth it to be in a room with Spielberg. Man.
Oh,
There's
totally.
just
Even if
something
it had
about
been a
him.
bad movie, I
Yeah.
would still be thrilled. I'd be
Yeah.
like, we got our money's worth.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
He was fun.
Well, I would say Indochino. I got a suit from them, and it fits.
Where's
perfect.
Indochino?
It's you go into their store, and then they send the measurements across seas, and then they ship you a custom suit.
Well,
$400.
Just
can I
from
do
the
that?
name, I thought you were going to say that he's a guy I know.
Indochino?
Indochino.
Oh, it's great. You go down to a shop in Long Beach, right?
it's in Koreatown.
He measures you out. Exactly.
It's actually a small apartment more than a shop.
Come on, is this the place?
Yeah.
Is this really the place?
Look, I've just stood naked in another
Are you-
man's apartment. It's fine.
Are you Indochino? He's making rice in the back.
He's
He'll-
in Crenshaw.
He'll be here in a second.
Wait a second. No, well, I can't do that because you can't send away and get a suit by Monday morning. I mean, the
No,
premiere's
you
on
get it in a
Monday.
month, but it's just like wear another suit and then get a good one because
Yeah, I
you're going to
guess
drop a
so.
couple $100
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
So get one that's good and then.
You could go, honestly, if it depends on how you want to roll, but you could go on Hollywood Boulevard
Oh yeah.
and
Oh,
get
the
one of
three
those
suits
three
for
suits for
$99 or
$100. Yeah, why not? You're wearing it once.
Yeah.
Get like,
It's not a bad idea.
you know, get one that's the colors of your favorite hero in the movie. That'd be cool, like a green and purple suit. You know?
I will do a suit
Hold on.
that's
Whose is that?
The Hulk.
yeah.
Oh, that's true.
purple.
How
Sorry,
dare
I
the
was thinking of-
incredulousness of the way you asked.
like Green
Who is
Goblin,
that?
and I was thinking of like all the. I had a couple villains flash through my head. I was like, "What fucking
What lazy
superhero?
turd hero is this?
Yeah.
only
knockoff brand.
Only the strongest one in the group.
Yeah, the one that they can't have too much because he solves every problem.
Right,
He does. He's just like, oh, where did Hulk go? I don't know. He's not here for this one.
I like that on the last one. The excuse is, oh, he went to space.
He went to space.
He went-
He lost
For
himself.
2 years.
You had to though. You had to.
Yeah, we
Although
got-
Hulk solves every problem.
Yeah,
Hulk's
it's
the best.
It's the same problem they have with Superman, where
Yeah.
it's like he
Yeah.
solves every problem. So it's like through every Batman movie, at least once in your head, you're like, "Where's Superman? He could just heat vision this guy to death
Any
right
second.
now. He's a living war satellite." You know,
Yeah. Who could
yeah.
stop time apparently?
Yes.
yeah, and reverse it.
Yeah.
Reverse it against his father's wishes.
Yeah.
Look, but we were kicking this around and we thought it'd be great. And Matt suggested Mike Black, so Mike is on the show now to talk about it. So I'm looking forward to this because a lot. I mean,
this will be fun.
when I started out making this list, I was like, "Holy shit!" Because there's some that are standbys to me that started
Yeah.
getting pushed further and further down the list.
Yeah.
and then a
Yeah.
couple I left off, and I'm like, "Damn, that's my
Yeah.
honest list that I couldn't put
I'm with
those
you.
that I
That's-
would normally have put them on maybe 2 years ago."
I'm right
Yeah.
there with you.
Like, shit.
Where it's like, yeah, that's too bad that like this one didn't make. I didn't
Yeah.
realize I liked this many sequels.
Yeah.
First of all,
It's
Some
really,
of them
you
I
know.
think are phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. I'm like, that
Yeah.
thing is great.
and a lot of them are ones that are great standalone movies.
Yes.
Like they're, you know, you don't have to have seen the first one
No.
Right.
to enjoy it at all.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's
You
its
know?
own self-contained
Right.
movie in and
Yeah.
of itself.
Story, yeah. All right, well, Matt, do you want to tell them how the show works?
Yeah, once we set a topic, all three of us go our separate ways. We show back up here. I do my bottom five. He does his bottom five. You do your bottom five. Then I do my next three. He does his next three. Then you do your next three. Then we trade one apiece. Once we have revealed our personal top 10 list, we create the shows between the three of us.
Okay.
Boom.
Ask questions
Yeah.
at any point.
Yeah.
People do it all the time.
Anything you don't
All right.
understand,
Yeah.
don't sweat it.
Probably most of it. Well, but I was half listening, to be
Okay,
totally honest.
So in this first section, if you got it 6 through 10, we may be talking about it.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Okay.
somebody else has it higher. We'll be saving it for there. That's it.
Okay. Sounds good.
But the weird thing is the bottom of the list was having a tougher fight than the top. Of the
Yes.
Yeah.
I
So
agree.
it was just like, okay, what are we talking about here? So I left off some shit, and others just like, anyway, number 10 for me is, we might be saying the words punt, X-Men Days of Future Past.
yeah, it's a. Yeah,
In my bottom.
Okay.
that's in my bottom, but just barely. Like,
Okay, then we're talking about it.
Okay, great. Let's talk about it.
Yeah,
That's my
we're
number
all
6.
talking about it. Where do you have 6? Where
Yeah.
do you have it?
I have 8.
At
Oh,
8?
good. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
The
between the
outro.
three of us, basically, it's right. 8 would be then where it lands.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
For now.
Yeah, it's right in the middle. It's good. I think it's my favorite of the reboot.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I enjoyed the melding of the old cast into the new one.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Yes.
talked about it in the past. There are points that do take me out. Like
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman. Some person said it's water deprivation when I brought it up the last time. Like when he stands up out of bed and he
Yeah.
has veins going across like his shoulder blades. That's
Yeah.
not really, that's not normal.
No.
That's not normal.
That shouldn't be
You
happening.
need some sort of pharmaceutical
Yeah.
help, more than likely.
See a doctor.
Something that Lance Armstrong just had to pay $5 million to the federal government for having lost a lawsuit for.
Yes.
Something along those lines. But he looks great.
He does.
Yeah. He's whatever horse they killed to make him look like that, you know.
It was worth it.
However many adrenal glands he had to suck on before each take.
Could have been the frozen one at Secretariat for all. Oh, we know.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been holding on to it just for this occasion. We knew it. We would need it at this point.
But yeah, he looked tremendous. I was such a fan of Michael Fassbender after the first one.
Me too.
That I was just so on board to see whatever he was going to do next.
Yeah.
With Magneto, and I feel like him and Ian McKellen have kind of a seamless
transition
character arc. Yeah, but with those characters, and I was really, really pleased with what they did with Quicksilver. Which, you know, having a character that's a speedster and doing a scene like that just I really hadn't seen done in a film before was really nice to see. Yeah, I just really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Thoroughly. Much so, I know in the comic books, it's not Wolverine that goes back. I think it's Rogue or
but now we're talking about box office versus comic book.
Right, exactly,
Yeah.
and that's what I think. Like I think they knew the way they had to go with it, and it was to put Logan through it. And I really like what seeing Hugh Jackman in the '70s clothes is really kick ass, and then having this idea of having Professor X having some kind of like crisis of confidence, which I'd never seen before, was really interesting for McAvoy to play.
Yeah.
And then of course you get Quicksilver's in this one. Am I correct on that? They
Yeah.
had the, like famous thing where he's going around the kitchen and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
that's the scene.
That's the scene I was.
Right. And so all of that is incredible. And then you have with Fassbender, you have this slamming of the heads, so that when it culminates in Nixon and Dinklage and that gun and everything with the Sentinels at the end of the stadium, which is RFK, which is great for me as a Washington D.C. kid who grew up in D.C. That was like so cool to see all that.
And they're adding all these layers to characters that you already give so much of a shit about. You know.
Yeah. And then have them reset the universe at the end was like as if the film wasn't already incredible enough. They give you that last thing where they go, Brett Ratner, fuck you for X-Men Last Stand. We're bringing everybody back.
Yeah, we could do this better.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
that was great. I wanted more out of the Sentinel battle.
Yeah, agreed.
Like, just because I'd been waiting so damn long, and they teased them through the entire first series, and then now we're the second movie into the reboot, and you're seeing them live and functioning and moving around.
At that point, we'd seen Thor, and that was basically what he has to go against at one point in Thor.
Exactly.
It's like, we've already seen this thing.
So it's like, give us a fight. I wanted like Wolverine to rip through at least like 6 of them. You know,
absolutely.
Like make it worthwhile if you're going to finally do them. I still feel like that I could speak for most X-Men fans and say like we're all still kind of waiting for like a definitive Sentinel battle.
Yes.
You know, with all of the X-Men in it. You know,
and we'll be waiting even longer because this merger is going to go through. Dark Phoenix is essentially going to be a lame duck movie, and so they're going to recast and start all over again under Disney. So hopefully, hopefully,
once Feige is in control of it and everything, then we'll actually get something like that. You know,
exactly.
I don't know. I wonder if because I'm already superhero fatigue right now.
Yeah.
But how long is it going to take to get to that? Like 3 years. I'll still do it for X-Men though.
Yeah,
I'll still do it for X-Men.
Of course.
X-Men is still, I think, the most popular comic book in the world.
It was one of my favorites growing up.
You know, so, and I think nothing could ride the wave of diversity that's happening now better than X-Men.
True. They can become anyone.
I think, like their finest hour is still to come cinematically.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm excited. You know, as much as I loved Hugh Jackman, I'm excited to see who will play Wolverine next and stuff like that.
I think he'll do one more. I think with the merger, I think they'll.
That would be interesting. I would not be against it at all.
I'd love to see him incorporated into the MCU.
Yeah.
Or they do a separate thing where they have him be Old Man Logan, and he's just Logan on these adventures doing what he's doing. But there's a young Wolverine that's in the other universe when they recast.
Yeah, they
and
have.
go younger.
They have to.
Yeah, if they did basically what they did with Michael Fassbender, I would totally be all for that if they found someone good.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
That's the
and
thing.
not Scott Eastwood, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
So my number 9.
Yeah.
Let's see if anybody has it. X2.
Yeah, that's my number 7.
I'm not sure because
Well, should have had that on the ready, Mike. What do you?
I didn't know we were moving
You
on.
talked a big game about your professionalism.
What was the movie
number
you just
9
said?
for me, X2.
Oh yeah, number 7.
Well, perfect.
Wow, look at that.
Talk about
2 for 2, guys, in the
Kaboom.
bottom. This is where I think I really fell in love with the idea that they could do an X-Men.
Yeah.
Because I like the first. It's fine. I enjoyed it at the time.
Yes.
But it was like this series was something that I grew up with, loved, especially
Yeah.
Wolverine.
Yeah.
Wolverine and Cyclops, and there's a few different characters like that dude is awesome.
Yeah.
And they finally brought it to life.
Yeah.
Except for Colossus until now.
Yeah, Deadpool
Yeah.
will save Colossus.
Yeah,
They
thank God.
kept
Yeah.
fucking up Colossus all the
In this
X-Men
movie.
movies.
In
Yeah.
this movie.
Yeah.
It's the only time we see him, and it's like this tiny little bit, and you're like,
Yeah.
that's what we're doing with
They
Colossus.
cast some meathead
Yeah.
to play him. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and no accent and
Yeah.
no
Nothing.
and weird design choices, and I was like, don't. It's kind of like I forget some Russian playwright said, "Don't put a gun in the first act unless you're going to fire it in the third."
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I felt about having Colossus. And I was like, I'd rather you just not put him in here
Right.
than
True, then
than
teasing
have
that maybe he shows up later.
tease him in this real wimpy way that just
Yeah.
doesn't
The guy,
do
I mean,
anything.
literally, the whatever the military forces coming in,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you can turn your skin into metal. They can't do anything to you.
Right.
They literally can't do anything to you.
Right.
Yeah, and it's like what that set the table for was a scene of him and Wolverine kicking the shit out of
Yes.
all those guys.
Yes.
Which is what I was
Hoping for.
ready for, and then it was just Wolverine, and that was a great scene. But it would have been so much better if it had been both of them doing that.
Oh,
You know,
just Colossus running in and clocking a dude, and he just goes flying through a wall.
Yeah.
like oh yeah, this would be
or
great.
him like tossing Wolverine
Throwing
at someone.
yeah,
You know,
exactly, over the top of his head and just launches
Yeah.
him like a torpedo or
Yeah.
a missile.
and I loved seeing Wolverine off the chain for the first
Oh, yeah,
time,
yeah.
like really able to cut loose in that movie. And the opening sequence with Nightcrawler, the assassination
Yeah.
attempt,
The presidency.
that was great.
Yeah.
Just to see Banff
Yeah.
actually come to life on a movie.
And it looked
was
real.
great. Yes, it did.
That little smoke, and you're like, holy shit! I was blown away. I was like, they brought that character to life, which I thought was impossible.
Yeah. And I've loved that character since I remember it was Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, the cartoon,
Right.
where they had the X-Men, and Wolverine had an Australian accent in the cartoon, and he
remember that
offered
one.
like a shish kebab to Firestar, and that was how you knew he had claws. And then, but they did Nightcrawler right in that cartoon. They were fighting Juggernaut. And he had his German accent, and he was like teleporting all over the place. And I was like, "This guy is fucking cool." And I don't know if you guys had like Secret Wars figures or
course.
anything
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
I was like, "When are they going to do Nightcrawler?" And they went out of business before that happened. But I was just counting the minutes to a Nightcrawler figure.
Well, and you
You
get
know.
you get the stuff with Stryker at the end. You get like
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Brian Cox with
Yeah,
the,
he's a
with the
great
Brian
villain.
Cox is such a good actor that I
so
just
good, man.
what a great choice to have him play that character.
right.
And like you see him, and that to me is a believable human that would stand up to mutants and try and snuff them
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
And you see that, and you're like, that dude is terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely terrifying. I get it.
Yeah, him holding his own with Professor X
Yes.
and all of that.
Yeah.
You know, it was
That
just
being his son, and
Yeah.
that's what he's done
Oh,
to his
yeah.
son. You just knew that he felt that that was a wrong from God, and he's trying to correct it himself.
Right.
and the Magneto was great
Yes.
in that
Yeah.
movie. His escape,
Yeah.
tremendous. You know, that was such a well done. You should have killed me when you had the chance. All of that. God, that was such a good movie.
It really
I
was.
I want to see it again now that we're talking about it.
Even
you know?
with the Dark Phoenix stuff at the end, which they teased, it was the Dark Phoenix stuff was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like her sacrificing herself. That is one of the I remember that being a moment that I was surprised that I got emotional about watch because I didn't expect
Yeah.
that from a superhero movie.
Okay.
And seeing
Yeah.
her sacrifice herself with Scott, like I thought Marsden kind of overplayed the moment as an actor there, but
Yeah.
but I thought you could sense the pain from both of them
Okay.
as Jean sacrificed herself to save them, and what she does when she stops them. That's how powerful she'd become
Yeah.
without them knowing. She was this power that she could stop them from coming to try to rescue her because that would have killed them all possibly.
Yeah,
And so it's
whilst
just
doing
amazing.
the other.
While,
Yeah.
while getting him out.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Holding
Yeah,
back
if
the
the
water
next
and
movie
shit.
had lived up to the potential of that one, man, of the the way they set it up for it,
Yeah.
man,
'Cause
you know,
Famke was great as Jean Grey, and she would have been fantastic in the Dark Phoenix story.
Yeah, I believe
with
the
a
chemistry
better
with her and
director.
Jackman.
Yeah.
Like that tension there seemed very real.
Even in Days of Future Past, when they have that little exchange, and then Marsden comes around the corner, you're just like, oh, that magic is still there. That chemistry is still
Yeah.
there. So that was great to see. What's your number 8?
my number 8 is Captain America: Civil War.
Uh,
What are we talking?
that's a
Punt.
punt. Punt for me.
That's a punt for both of you. Okay.
Number
And then number 7 is Hellboy 2: The Golden Army.
Yeah, it's one I still have not seen.
that is my number 10.
Is
Oh,
it?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Go
it
ahead,
should be
boys.
higher, just so you know, for future reference. It's
I understand
rewatchability to
that.
me is what's jumped it up. I enjoy it
Yeah.
because I've seen it now a bunch of times. I had it on an old iPod, and it was one of the first few movies that I had on that. I just watched it all the fucking time.
Yeah.
So I've seen it a lot of times, and I don't know. I like the color palette and the choice of characters that they bring in, and
It's
him
one
as
of
a
the
protagonist.
few, maybe the only romantic comedy comic
Yeah.
book sequel. You know,
A sequel for sure,
yeah,
for sure.
You know, and
because you could sell me on Deadpool.
yeah,
Stuff like that.
Deadpool
Right.
very much
Yeah.
so. You know, but man, it had a great look to it. The production design, Guillermo del Toro in general is just always doing that. In fact, this one knocked Blade 2 out of the top 10 for me.
Out of your list.
And
How unfortunate for you.
yeah, for me. But yeah, when spoiler alert, when those characters would die and turn to statues, that was just one of the coolest types of death that I've seen done on film.
Okay.
You know, the Golden Army itself
Is awesome.
Is awesome. They look
Is really
so
awesome.
good, and they're so well realized and seem
I like that smoke.
so insurmountable. You know.
Yeah.
The smoke character that
Oh, yeah.
Seth MacFarlane is the voice of.
Oh yeah, he is
Just
great.
a weird. He's got a it's such an inventive. I even love when they like walk past and they're trying to find the underground market. They have to
Yeah.
put on special glasses, and this seemingly benign older woman turns into this just evil troll.
Yeah.
And they pull out a canary or something, and it freaks her out. The transition from her to troll to like
Yeah.
trying to hold on to it. It's just. It's
Oh,
magic to
man.
watch.
Right,
If
right.
these people do exist in our world, this is a great representation of that.
It's amazing, and it's really it's almost more Abe Sapiens movie. You know, it's
well, he's
like,
got the love story arc.
yeah, he
within
he
it.
has such a cool arc in
Yeah.
this one.
Did they replace him? Like it was
I
it
think
Doug
so.
Jones in the first one or in the second one?
Doug Jones was the body in both of them.
Okay.
But they
he
changed the voice.
Because David Hyde Pierce was the voice in the first
First one and the second one is what they changed. I think.
I think the second one they let Doug Jones do his own
Oh,
voice
wow, okay.
for it. Yeah.
which he does great work on Discovery.
Who?
Like,
Yeah.
Discovery. He's great on Star Trek
I've
Discovery.
only seen one.
Oh yeah, he was so
He
good.
is a prince of a human being too.
That's what
Like
everyone
he
says.
couldn't be nicer. I did a show a long time ago at the Improv
Mm-hmm.
where we had him as a guest for because he was the Silver Surfer,
Right.
And he was coming out with Pan's Labyrinth, and he brought like 50 posters for Pan's Labyrinth.
Wow.
And I made the mistake of lying to the audience and saying, "Oh, Doug was gracious enough to sign all these posters for everybody," and he hadn't.
Oh,
And
jeez.
so he like gingerly comes up to the stage and he goes, "I actually didn't sign the posters, but anyone who wants me to, I'm happy to."
Oh, that's really
wow.
He's that cool of a person, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that movie was tremendous.
I need
And,
to watch. Maybe I'll watch
yeah.
it now this weekend because it's one
I
that's
like- yeah.
always on
Yeah.
my like always on my Reddit to do it, and yet I haven't found the motivation to do it yet. So maybe,
It just really, I don't know. It's something to behold.
yeah, really.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just like even the little bit of subterfuge with hidden like maps or whatever it is, and they have to go to that one shop, and it ends up being like one of those rollout things and tells
Wow.
them whatever the fuck. You'll see
Yeah.
it. But even that little world they go to,
Yeah.
it's like this subset within the underground market, and you've already passed all this weirdness, but it feels very lived in and real on some level.
Right.
I just, it's Del Toro bringing his brain to life.
Yeah, and it definitely makes you wish they would do a third one together, but that
Yeah, it's not going to
doesn't.
happen.
Right. No, it doesn't.
Yeah. Well, the
what-
new one comes out in not too long.
Yeah.
Yeah. True. We'll see how that turns out with Harbor. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you got next?
6, Batman Returns.
Ooh, nope, not on my list at all.
Not even anywhere.
Not even
Really?
honorable mentions. Yeah.
I just look. I'm a sucker for Batman.
Look.
I'm a sucker for Batman too, but there are far better Batman sequels out there.
Then the second Keaton one.
Yes.
See, I liked it just because that's the best Catwoman, and
Yeah.
as much as I didn't care for all of the aspects of Penguin, part of me still feels like that is the essence of Penguin on some level.
I really disagree on the Penguin entirely.
Okay.
And the
Well, which are you
Catwoman.
going like the old cartoon version is what you like? You know
yeah,
what I mean? The banker
yeah,
to
'cause-
Burgess Meredith?
I mean that's very close to the comic book iteration
is.
of him, you know. And actually, my favorite incarnation of the Penguin so far has been from the animated series with Paul Williams doing his voice.
Yes.
And where he's a guy who wants to be an effete snob, but he's he's just not. He's just
Yeah.
a thug, essentially.
I saw one where they put like a force field over. It was part of his master scheme. It was on I think straight to DVD. I do
Yeah.
like that Penguin, but I never anticipated ever seeing that within a movie. So this reinterpretation was kind of interesting to me.
I think he works best as a side character rather than a main villain. Like, I don't know if you play the Arkham Asylum games.
No.
Oh, it's good. Those, games
Those are
intense.
great, but he runs the Iceberg Lounge, and Batman will go there where he's like technically legitimate, but he's got his finger in everyone's shit.
Yeah.
And so he'll go there and just beat him up for information and stuff like that. And it's so much more fun to have the character in that regard. And that's kind of what they're going towards on the Gotham show.
Okay.
And so I think he's a very interesting character. I just don't like him as the main villain for Batman. It lessens Batman to me if that's the big threat is the Penguin.
Okay. I never viewed him with it. I guess when I saw it, I was still so enamored. And Penguin is such a great character name, and it gives you a visual idea.
Don't get me wrong, I love Danny DeVito cast as the Penguin.
Right.
Yeah.
But I just thought the execution left a lot to be desired. I felt like they rushed that whole movie just to get a sequel in
Capitalize
there.
out.
And
Okay.
the
Maybe.
Catwoman story was such crap. It was just
I can't defend that. Because the character and like who she is with Chris Walken.
Yeah.
And then she tumbles out like the 9 lives
Holy
and all
crap.
that. It is.
Yeah.
But the raw presence that she brings with Batman, that is Catwoman.
Oh,
like
yeah.
she's just she enters the room before she gets there, and you can just feel
absolutely, and she has such an iconography. It's just so powerful when you see her in that costume.
Yeah.
And it just wiped away any previous version of the character for me. Like definitive is how I think of her as Catwoman. I just wish the origin had lived up to
something
that.
you-
Yeah.
I was still, I think, at a young enough age where I'm like, I don't care.
Not that honestly, I don't think the Christopher Nolan did any better with
He didn't. He didn't.
with the
He did worse.
Catwoman.
Well,
yeah.
I don't know if I'd go for that far. I did enjoy Hathaway's version of Catwoman. I
Well-
thought it fit into the world Nolan created. That's what
Yeah.
I
I was
saying.
about to say that, but you got to it.
But I love that Pfeiffer. I love what Pfeiffer. I don't think she beats Pfeiffer. Not for
No.
Like there are just scenes with Pfeiffer and Keaton where you're just like, she just exudes this powerful sexuality that you can't put.
Yeah, it was
on.
just
Like,
a
it has to
powder
be-
keg anytime those two were on screen together.
Exactly. Yeah, it was really
Like
incredible.
you as a guy sitting there being like, hey, whatever you do right now, I side with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you break the
Which is
artifice
what
of what you are because you're so seduced by this,
Right.
I get
Yeah.
it because I'm in my seat going, I'd do the same.
Yeah.
what Selena Kyle does to Bruce Wayne in the
Right.
comics.
She
So it just
beguiles
makes
him.
it-
Yeah.
She does
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah, so I will say there were parts like that they just nailed, but
Yeah.
overall the film had so many ham-fisted things. And I watched it again recently at this theater in Silver Lake. They did a midnight showing of it. And a lot of the dialogue just doesn't even make sense. It just comes out of nowhere.
Okay.
Like,
Maybe
you
I need
know,
to see it again.
characters will just like, there's the point where the Penguin says, burn, baby, burn for no good reason. And it was just like, you're just making a really long trailer. You're not really making a movie. These are all just things that kind of sound cool.
Well, now I'm going to have a
Together.
different perspective than I see this. Thanks, Mike.
Sorry, I
Thanks,
ruined,
Mike.
ruined your movie.
part of my late childhood, early teenhood.
That's the other thing he does on his shows. He ruins movies
Exactly.
for you.
Power pals my ass.
Well, I thought that's what we were doing. I
You guys
thought
are
we were
the super
supposed to
pricks.
defend or shit on movies. I didn't
No, we don't shit on. All right,
No,
so-
you're fine. That's mine.
Okay,
Go
so
for
my,
it.
my number 10 starts off with the one that Mike Black took a shit on 2 seconds ago or 2 minutes ago, Blade 2. That's,
I didn't shit on it. I just voted it out.
He voted it out. To me, maybe because I haven't seen Hellboy 2 Golden Army, this one makes it on the list for me.
That makes sense.
I
to
mean,
me.
Wesley Snipes is so fucking good. And even in Trinity, there are moments of Trinity or
Yeah.
scenes with him where I'm like, that should have been the movie, Goyer, you fucking idiot. That should have been the movie.
Yeah.
And-
In
but
3.
that's what I'm saying. You throw in the fucking Dominic Cooper doing that fucking original Dracula bullshit, and you throw in Ryan Reynolds and and I'm like, man, I get the spirit of what you're going for, but you didn't quite get there and really killed it. So to me, I always go back to the second
Well, you know the
one.
deal on that though was that he was like locked locked himself in his trailer most of the movie,
Right,
so
because
he
he was
had to
mad.
shoot all that other shit.
Yeah,
you know?
because he was mad they had to do it. They had brought those people on to make it like relevant or make it
Yeah.
like,
To people in post-it notes would only show up for his extreme close-ups, and
Yep.
somebody else does a lot of the fighting and shit.
yeah.
yeah.
That's a shame on that because I loved the first Blade.
I like that one. a lot.
Really,
Yeah,
the first
Stephen
Marvel
Norrington's
movie
Blade,
was so tight and like they said themselves that the biggest problem with that movie is it couldn't top the opening.
Yeah.
You know, that first
The blood rave.
blood rave.
Yeah,
Okay.
Holy crap, that is so good.
it is.
And but the rest of it, Chris Christopherson was fucking great in that movie.
Yeah, Donald Lowe.
Donald Logue, it had a stellar cast, really, when you think about it.
Yes.
What's his name? The German guy,
Udo Kier.
Udo Kier.
Yeah.
Man, it just the callback to him as Dracula.
Yes.
You know, I was like, what a great choice to have him just even involved in this movie.
Not even the full
And yeah, the fight choreography in it.
Yeah, it was cool.
and the casting too with the people that we don't see, like
Yeah.
the lady who played his mom is pretty unsettling, and
Oh yeah,
and,
and there are like some genuinely scary
Yes,
moments in there,
yes.
like when the two are in the hospital talking.
yeah,
Yeah.
And the scene just turns all of a
Yeah.
sudden. Fuck, or when she's trapped in there with her coworker.
yes, down there where he's been. eating,
Yeah, I was
and
like,
he's got that
oh
weird
fuck, get
voice
out of there,
thing.
get the fuck out of there.
It's like something from Unite.
Yeah, yeah.
You're just like, fucking get the fuck out of here.
And they made Blade himself so badass.
Yeah.
Like so
did
much
such a
more
great
than the
job.
comic book character had ever
Oh,
been.
yeah. Everyone said
You know,
that. Yeah.
And honestly, the comic book character now has a real tough time living up to
Yeah.
the
Oh,
Blade in
wow.
the films.
All
He
these
was
years
that
later?
hardcore. Yeah. It's
That
like
was good.
They cut off his hand and gave him like cybernetic hands and shit. And it's like they're really trying hard
Wow,
to live
Whistler,
up to.
Whistler stepped up as engineer.
Yeah, yeah.
He went from being a little fixing old, straight line 8
Yeah.
to
Like I would read it for a laugh because it was like that. I was like, oh, they're really trying hard to live up to this, and it's
Yeah.
tough.
Well, that's
you
what I
know?
liked about the second one. I'm like, how do you top that first one that was so out of the blue, like the Crow, like out of nowhere?
Throwing
the
Ron
Matrix.
Perlman in there was a
Yeah.
great
That's the thing.
start. You know,
you do this hybrid vampire that does this weird
Yeah.
kind of like almost like a Venus flytrap mouth type thing.
vampires
does.
that vampires fear is a
Exactly.
pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible, right?
boogeyman.
Everything
Yeah.
Underworld tried to do, Blade was nailing. And so-
Yes, and it wasn't so goddamn convoluted.
Yes,
You know, it was
It
just
was what
pretty
it was.
straightforward.
He hired, he
You
gets
know?
a group of people. They have their own attitude, and it totally works. And you have him trying to find this thing, and then you have this great fucking moment at the end with that girl when the sun comes up. Like, holy,
Yeah.
there's some fucking great emotional shit going through. And Wesley is so good through this whole thing. Even when
Yeah.
Whistler comes back, what does that mean? Then his buddy turns on him. All that shit.
Yeah, he commits so hard to the character.
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only gripe I have in a lot of it is just of the time is the CGI was so obvious
Well,
in some of
right.
the fights, and like
Yeah.
with the finishing move on the last guy where he does the people's elbow, but from outer space, and comes and lands
true.
on the bad guy. I was like, that's a bit much, but other than that, it was a really really solid.
The fight
movie.
in that building that they were still constructing, that was some great
Yeah.
fucking fight choreography. When they're
Well, and
fighting
when
on
they
the-
come to invade his base,
Yes.
and you can't,
Oh,
there's
man.
no sound,
Yep.
and you see them all like just jumping from rafter to rafter.
Yeah. It's
There's
really
some
good stuff.
great stuff in that movie.
It's one I still go back to, and
Yeah.
I'll probably watch that one more than Blade because I think Blade's a little dated with Stephen Dorff's performance.
Yeah.
which the second one isn't for me, and so
Well, and
still
what's
go back.
funny is like that first Blade has a lot of shit in it that's dated, but it's because it was ripped off because it came out before the Matrix, but it had
Oh,
like
really?
bullet time
Yeah,
and it
I
had like
forgot.
the revolve thing. A lot of that shit, you're like, oh man, they really ripped off a lot of this from this movie.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. All right, so that was my number 10.
Yep.
Then my number 9 is Iron Man 3.
Not on my list.
My number 9.
Oh, boom.
Yeah.
Shane Black does a great job with this, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I thoroughly. It's one I surprisingly go back to more than I anticipated that I would, because that second one does nothing for me. But for this idea of PTSD, this idea that he's suffering, like all the stuff he's suffering through, he has to kind of have this crisis. Once again, this crisis of conscious stuff is really interesting for me with superheroes. Like, what do they go through? And
Yeah.
I don't want some mealy-mouthed attempt at it. It was really him having the panic attacks.
Yeah.
Where did you think a superhero was going to have panic attacks? I really
Yeah.
enjoyed the novelty of that, the brilliance of throwing that in, because we as a society, we're starting to like embrace this possibility more in our lives with fellow people
Yeah.
we know. So to have a superhero and a guy like Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark, doing that through the movie was really incredible. And the Mandarin twist, I'm one of these people that's
I didn't mind that.
Yeah, I'm one of these people that
Yeah.
like the Mandarin twist. I thought Kingsley was hilarious when he does
Yeah.
that turn and he is Derek or whatever his name is,
Right.
and he's having the whole conversation with Downey Jr. It's brilliant, and Rebecca Hall is great, and I really enjoy Guy Pearce and the whole thing.
Yeah.
but my only issues is Paltrow stuff, putting the Iron Man suit on Paltrow.
Yeah,
right.
That bothered
Yeah.
me because
That
I'm
was a
like,
bit much.
she is already running a corporation. She's a
Yeah.
she's a multi-billionaire. She's very smart. She's a hero in a different way. And
Right.
she doesn't need to wear the Iron Man suit as well. Like,
yeah,
so
but
for me, that was
it kind of cut to
the
this part of me
extremists.
that's like she doesn't need to be rescued.
She
She's
doesn't.
smarter than this,
Right.
And
Yeah, but then they turn her into a fucking mutant
with
anyway.
extremists.
So
Right,
she
yeah.
saves him, and it's just like
yeah, and I was like,
didn't
now
come
it's
to a
just
Piper Potts
ridiculous.
movie.
Yeah.
I came
Yeah.
to an Iron Man. Like that's what kills
Yeah.
me. The end. You get to the end, and I'm just like, I don't
Yeah.
give a flying fuck about this storyline. I was,
Well,
I
yeah,
walked out
like,
of there going, man, fuck that.
That and when Guy Pearce is like, I'm the Mandarin, like how like for any idiot in the theater,
They didn't get it.
I'm the Mandarin.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
That's true.
You don't have to spell it out for us. We
I don't know. He's like a weak
pieced it
villain
together.
too.
However,
the stuff on the plane is
some of the stuff, yeah, him on the plane, the suit getting hit by the truck,
Yes.
and you realizing he's not in it.
right.
One of my favorite things that movie did, and it's very a Marvel fanboy sort of thing that happened in it, is that it showed that Tony Stark is a hero whether he's in the armor or not.
Yeah.
And how he's a high functioning force to be reckoned with, whether he has that suit with him or not. You know,
point,
and
Mike.
whereas like you take the first Daredevil movie,
Right.
and they did his origin in it, and they show him. He gets in a fight with his dad, and he goes skateboarding in a toxic waste area, and that's how he gets sprayed with chemicals in his eyes, which is completely different from
Yeah.
the comic book version, where he saves an old man's life.
Right.
The truck swerves and a barrel falls out and sprays him in the eyes,
Right.
showing that he was going to be a hero whether he had powers or not.
Yeah,
Right.
precisely.
And to me, that's what this movie captured even more. And the stuff about the Mandarin, I felt like David Goyer probably, nailed the Mandarin elements, everything that's
Absolutely.
cool about it
Yeah.
Yeah.
in Batman Begins.
Oh,
It's a
yeah.
very similar character
Right, with Ra's al Ghul.
with
Yeah.
Ra's al
Yeah,
Ghul, and
yeah.
it's like you're not really going to top that.
Yeah.
And it's just going to look like a retread, even if it's not, to do it that way. So I think the way they went, that Shane Black went, was very inventive and
Yeah.
very fun. And also very real to the world that we live in and lived in at the time, with ISIS cutting videos and with like the Taliban
headings and all that.
going,
Yeah.
"Oh, we're going to do this, and you guys are so fucked," and
yeah. And
you know,
put it up on like YouTube's like sites.
Yeah,
and God, it speaks to us.
to me, I was like, that resonates. That seems
True.
and it doesn't. And I'm sure half of that is just like, well, who's the best actor in the Taliban? Get him to do this video.
right.
I'm sure that's how that shit has to go. Who knows how to read a speech really well in
who
ISIS?
can deliver the
It's
lines
this
that
guy.
we need to get across.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%. It once again, Piper Potts just comes in at the end.
Yeah.
And or Pepper Potts,
Pepper
or whatever
Potts,
it is.
right.
Pepper Potts, yeah.
Comes in and now she is
Yeah, the
better than the
extremists.
Avengers on her own. And it's like, what?
But man, did I love seeing all of those suits in
that was
action
awesome.
at once.
That's what I thought the
You know?
crescendo of the movie is like.
Yeah.
He can't do it himself anymore, but now he's built something else
Yeah.
to help him, and then to blow them all up, it's like, okay, that doesn't make
Yeah.
sense to
Well,
me.
because of her and all that.
Yeah,
kind of,
but that's
Yeah.
like, what?
I know.
You had a panic attack about needing to save the world. Here's 30 things can help save the world.
Yeah.
There's a possible other movie that Shane Black directed that doesn't have the Mandarin twist and makes him a full-on terrorist that is destroying people, and where Pepper Potts never becomes the extremist stuff. It's Tony Stark almost getting killed because of his panic attacks, because of PTSD at the moment of truth against the Mandarin in a moment at the end of the movie. There's a darker film that could have happened
Yeah.
if he hadn't gone the more like audience-pleasing route.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's an interesting
Plus, I'm sure
thing to
studios
look
are
at.
like terrorists. I don't know if we should do
Exactly.
a full-on mimic,
Right.
of ISIS.
I mean, people were protesting True Lies. People were starting to retroactively protest True Lies because of the you can't always put the Arabs be the
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. Persians but always have to be the villain, that kind of shit. So, all right. Anyway, that was my number 9. So my number 8 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's called a punt,
Ooh,
my friend.
nice.
That is called a punt.
All right. 7 I already said was X2. 6 I already said was X-Men: Days of Future Past. So Mike, we're on to you.
Yeah.
Okay, we did Hellboy 2, we did Iron Man 3, Days of Future Past. X2, did we do that?
Yes,
Yes, we did.
Okay.
I'm glad this conversation is so memorable for you.
It's always about the next thing. My number 6, Spider-Man 2.
Ooh, yeah. That's one of the ones I
Yeah,
had to
that was
kick
a
off
tough
my list.
omission for me.
Yeah.
That was a tough
'Cause
omission.
I recently watched it, and it doesn't have the same magic for me
Yeah.
that I remember it having.
Yeah. I like
Yeah.
certain parts now.
Yeah.
I think are fantastic. Like the
Yeah.
Doc Ock on the side of the building as they're going up.
With
That
Aunt
is
May?
magic. And when
Yeah.
his arms come to life, that is a comic book panel.
Yeah.
The way they
Oh,
shot
yeah.
it and interlaced the frames. It's one of my favorite sequences in
And
any comic book movie.
That's some of the best Sam Raimi stuff too.
It is. Yeah.
Like
It is. It plays right
the
into his
nurse
strong
clawing at the floor as she's getting
Yeah.
dragged away.
But like shadows are
yeah.
cast, and that's you only see the shadow of like
Yeah.
3 arms come up, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh shit. That to me was gorgeous about the movie. Just there are other parts where I'm like,
the
ugh.
subway I thought was great.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
whole train sequence,
sequence is incredible.
from beginning to end I thought was great. Even what they did with like the crowd like sticking up for Spider-Man and
yeah.
trying to like
Diaz.
save him. Joey Diaz in it. You
What is he,
can't
the first
top
one?
that. Yeah,
Exactly. He steps right in front of him.
Yeah.
Fuck Coco, you kidding me? I love it. I believe it
In the
too.
real
If you
world,
know
he would have
Joey,
won. If he'd had enough cocaine, he could have beaten Doc Ock. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it.
I think the odds would be good.
Yeah.
If we went to Vegas, it's
Yeah.
not like it's some crazy Warriors versus
All my money is on Joey.
yeah, it's close. It's like
How many grams does he have? Okay, all right, all my money, all my money.
No, but you're right. Carrying him over like almost like a Christ figure above their heads, and then
Yeah.
putting the mask
Passing
back
him
on
over.
his face.
Well, and people saying like he looks like my son, or
Yeah.
he looks like so and so. I was like, I love that.
Yeah.
I got kind of choked up
Of
watching
course.
that part of the movie.
Yeah, sure.
And I loved the actor playing Doc Ock, whose
Yeah,
name
Alfred
I'm forgetting
Molina.
right now.
Alfred Molina,
Yes,
Yeah.
I thought he was
He's great.
such an inspired choice because he had so much humanity to him that through the whole movie, I couldn't ever completely get behind him as a villain. I kept thinking, there's something redeemable here, and I loved that complexity. I thought that was a lot of fun.
That's a great point. And at
Yeah.
the end, you do have that redemption because the
Yeah.
arms of the one that's been controlling him the whole time.
Yeah.
He has to- like he sinks this thing that he created, and it's really interesting how they
Yeah.
had these. Like this is fascinating to think about the superhero.
Yeah, in the
movies.
third act, he ends up being the hero of the film. He's
Yeah,
the
he
one that
saves them
actually
from the cataclysm
does
to
it,
come.
yeah.
Right, 'cause
Sacrifices
he realizes
himself.
what it is, and he tells to he talks to his arm, says, "Listen to me now, and let
Yeah.
me guide you." And you're like, "Whoa!" And you have that great moment. So those are
Yeah.
the 3 favorite moments, or the 3 moments that still work for me. Is the climbing the wall with Aunt May and all that choreography was just great.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
The train scene, and then that scene at the end with him sinking everything, but also with Tobey Maguire having that moment with Kirsten Dunst where she realizes he's Spider-Man and
Yeah.
says how much he loves her and holding up the building. Those are great moments.
Well,
and they still work.
my favorite moment of the whole thing when she says, "Go get him, Tiger."
Yes.
and then her face of realizing what she's committed to.
Yeah.
After
good
he's
point.
gone, and you hear like sirens and stuff like that, and you see that she's not okay with it. She's really
That's a
not.
great point, Mike.
And I was like, that is one of the best endings to a movie I've ever seen. You know,
The Franco
so
stuff kills it for me too, which I thought he
Yeah.
was terrible as
There's-
guy.
yeah, there's a
I thought he was
bunch
just miscast. I think.
throughout.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think he could be good in a superhero movie.
I think now.
just not this one.
Yeah,
you know?
not that role either.
Yeah.
I never bought him in that role.
Right.
I was so surprised because I had seen his James Dean on TNT where
Yeah.
he played James Dean, and
Yeah.
I was like, this is an actor to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
And you see him in the Spider-Man movies, you're like, what the fuck are you doing? You're sleepwalking through this thing.
Yeah.
So it was surprising that he was just, and he seemed like almost just a pretty boy they gave a role to.
It did.
Yeah.
Someone
It
complex.
seemed like he was on something on the CW.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
waste on
Yeah.
all levels.
Yeah.
I think. Like
It was.
Yeah.
Plus, I just think I was just like, we don't need a retread of the exact same villain character.
Oh,
So
right.
why not
The
just
Goblin.
go ahead and get rid of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the nice things Spider-Man has is just the gallery
Yeah.
of all the different. He's like Batman. Those
Right.
two have the best just collection of villains to go up against.
Absolutely.
Which is why they pissed it away with Amazing Spider-Man 2 with
Yeah.
fucking Electro and Rhino. I was like, what are you doing, man?
Well, they just flashed to Rhino. That was coming the next one.
God.
Plus,
Yeah.
they showed like the potential. What was it? Vulture was going to be in the next one after
Yeah.
that.
Right.
and They
Sinister
showed a few
Yeah,
Six.
they were
others.
going to do the whole Sinister,
Sinister
Six.
Six, yeah.
But they were doing some wacky thing where they were going to have their own movie, like they all go to Vegas together or something. It had nothing
What
to do with
Suicide
Spider-Man.
Squad tried to do. and just
Yeah.
like, what's
Yeah,
going on
yeah.
here?
All right, so we're back to you.
All
I
right,
guess,
so we're
yeah.
back to me. So it's a punt from earlier, Guardians 2.
Okay.
That series to me has its own legs where it could exist outside of needing superheroes to be popular, just
Yeah.
because I think they've done such a good job of fleshing out all the characters. And this one, instead of expanding the world outward, they went inward and
Yeah.
dealt with the turmoil of the group. And I think because they did that now, it brings up more complexities to the overall characters, and I think that franchise can now live on because each individual member has a personality.
Yeah.
Like they let it flesh out, and the writers had more time to play with it, so did the actors, and I just think the room for growth within that little world is, 3, 4, 5 more pictures if you can with this cast.
Yeah.
And that's impressive to me to do. So I know a lot of people hated on this thing, or not hated, but it just were expecting the world.
Well, it got great reviews, and it's high up there on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's made its money. A lot of people do like it, but you're right, Matt. A lot of people do go against it.
They don't love it.
Yeah, Christian Harloff hates it.
See,
and I
love it.
I love it. Yeah.
Even with the flaws, I enjoy the shit out of it.
Yeah.
I guess I would be closer to the other camp because it wasn't even on my list. But I liked most of it.
Okay.
But Rocket in particular, I was like, did you completely lose his voice from the first one? Where it was just like he said a lot of things that were just ridiculous. Like the idea that he doesn't know which eye he's blinking out of, yet he pilots the ship. And that, there were just like tons of things like that I was like, if it just doesn't hold up under scrutiny. Almost anything that he says in the movie.
That slide. I've never really thought of it. Like usually something like that would drive me nuts.
Right, yeah.
In a movie. You're like, doesn't he make any fucking sense?
Yeah.
Why is this happening?
Yeah.
If this I've done that to my wife now, and she doesn't.
And
enjoy
what's funny
movies
is
as much.
normally I'm not like that. I'm not very much like that. But his character was so well written in the first one.
Yeah.
And I just had so many holes in the shit he was saying in the second
Maybe
one.
I just chalked it up
that
to
I
the-
was just like, ugh.
The emotional turmoil that he was going through was distracting him, perhaps.
Maybe.
I don't know.
and that scene with
self-destructive.
Yondu, fuck, ugh. where him and Yondu are like,
They have
we're the same
breakthrough.
person and all that
Yeah.
shit.
Right.
I was like, this is the saddest, ham-fistedest bullshit
Well,
I've seen in a long
Where they're
time.
going with Yondu next is, I think, the only reason we have that is
Yeah.
so
I don't.
it gives
I think
stakes.
what they did with Yondu was so great that it
Yes.
certainly didn't need that scene.
Okay,
it was
think
just
maybe
like
they felt they need to humanize him some more before we get to that, so it's earned.
I guess, but
Is that where they're all? You mean like when they're in the cell or the prison or whatever, and then they're trying to get
it's a-
him to Groot to
It's when
bring back all
Yondu
the
turns to
stuff?
him and is like, "Boy, I know you, yeah, because I am you." I think that's what you're
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about.
Oh, right.
Like
The
you
one where
think
you-
this, the world. I think it's because
where
before
he
that-
takes his through line and literally spells it out to everyone
Yeah.
sitting there watching
That's
the
what
movie.
I think it's for.
Yeah,
is an
probably.
international audience.
Yeah.
And we got to explain why this character would be doing this. You got to give him
Yeah.
a little bit of leeway.
I do. Like I said, I like the movie overall. I just thought that what they did with Rocket in
You just wanted
particular,
to pick it. That's fine.
it was
liked it, but,
shitty. You know?
Well, when you move, and that's a fair point you make, Mike. But I think the other thing for me that I really enjoyed what you brought up, Matt, the idea of it going inward. We do have the stuff of Peter Quill. It's hard to figure out who the hell he is. How do you survive? Why was he able to hold that Power Stone?
Yeah.
How was he
Yeah.
able to do it? Did we find out he's half a god? Ego, the living planet. And then having to watch him like give cancer to his mom, Ego, living planet, giving the cancer to his mom, not
Yeah.
like all that. And then you find out he's been doing this on multiple fucking planets,
Yeah.
multiple galaxies. You're
Yes,
like,
to stroke his
wow.
own ego.
To stroke his own ego.
Yeah.
Literally,
Build
to
his
stroke his own
power.
ego. Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And then the battle with him, because almost every kid probably has that moment where they
Yeah.
fight their dad for independence in the situation. Like, you've got to see me as an adult, and that's what is going on between Ego and Peter Quill. And then on the other side, you have Gamora and Nebula working their shit out, and then you
Yeah.
get some background into how Nebula, why she has this anger towards Gamora. It's because of what Thanos did to her. When
Right.
Gamora would beat her in these matches, and Nebula built up a resentment because Gamora would never let her win, just to not have a piece of her taken away and replaced by something automatic or automated
Yeah.
or steel.
Yeah.
And so you get all that. And so to me, that's what I loved about the film. You get more of that. And I get your rocket points,
Yeah.
absolutely. But all that. And people complain they split the team up. You got to split the team. It's a sequel.
Yeah,
It's
you
a
have
sequel.
to.
You have to figure out the
Yeah.
mechanics of the
They
team.
need to do other
dynamics,
things
rather.
outside of each other
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
they can grow and we can grow with them.
Exactly.
And I liked all of that, and I liked. I was so thrilled when they got Kurt Russell to do it.
Yeah.
I thought he was such a great choice.
Yes, he
I,
is.
like, if you'd given me 1,000 years, I couldn't have cast a better person to play Star Lord's father.
Well, you throw
know,
in two 80s icons, right? Because you throw
Yeah.
in Stallone
Well,
and
you-
stack our
Yeah.
You got Hasselhoff as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Technically,
Did the
you
closing
wanna-
song on the
That,
movie.
when people complain
I
about
forgot
that,
about that.
I'll give them that. They
Yeah.
technically didn't need that.
They didn't need it, but they set it up really well.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was like,
Although I will, some of the jokes I thought were, like when she finally got to eat the fruit and it
Yeah.
wasn't right.
That was bad.
that's
got
what
to
I'm
that
talking
way
about.
too quick.
That's,
Yeah.
That's
Way
the
too
stuff
quick.
I'm talking about where I'm like, you had plenty of time and you have some good writers and you could easily hire a few punch-up people
Even if she had taken it and just been like, no, it's fine, and just
Right.
like trying to like
Yeah.
force herself through it.
It's not like Karen
Yeah.
can't make a comedic moment work. She can
Yeah,
absolutely
they
make
had
a comedic
good
moment.
other
yeah.
jokes throughout, like
Yeah.
with other characters, but there are a
Yeah.
few
Yeah,
points of
Drax
just like,
especially.
I don't mind because you keep trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But some of these are like, shit, really?
Yeah.
Like, damn it, I think.
Yeah,
well,
it's almost. I almost felt like they did shit like that so that kids would have shit to laugh about.
Yeah,
Meh.
maybe.
Like
Yeah.
we have to do a few really obvious jokes just for the kids.
Especially that opening with
Yeah.
Groot dancing around to the song while all this stuff is happening. That's totally for kids.
that,
Yeah,
Right.
that sold me from the beginning
Yeah.
because here's the one character you don't know anything about now, who is
Right.
Baby Groot. And instead of focusing on this huge set piece,
Yeah.
they just have him dancing around, and you kind of get to know like how he views the world
Yeah.
and how he interacts with them and how they treat
Yeah.
him and stuff like that. I was like, that is a brilliant way to open a movie. Now, here's the one character you don't know. We'll just dance with him for a little while.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, that's gorgeous.
I actually really liked that opening and seeing how each of them had kind of a role to fill parentally with him, and that even when things are at their worst, they're still taking time to do that.
Yeah.
I thought that was really, really nicely done.
To lead up to the teenage Groot
Yeah.
post-credit scene, which is great.
Yeah.
And apparently that's Groot's son, not Groot.
But yeah, James Gunn said that. That's his
Yeah.
son.
Oh, okay.
James Groot never
Yeah,
did.
it kind of ruins it a
tried.
little bit for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Baby Groot, it's a more interesting.
Until Groot flat out says it, I'll just keep believing it's Groot.
Yeah, sure.
I don't
Well,
care what the director says.
He only knows how to say one thing.
Yeah.
What's your number 4?
My number 4, this might be a punt, Logan.
That's a punt.
That's punt.
Yep.
Okay. In my defense, I think I need to see it again. And then my number 3 is Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
That's my number 3.
My number 4.
Boom.
Perfect timing.
What a good movie, man.
Yeah.
I mean, to put once again, things I say on Kaleido, the thing I repeat over and over again, the mantra is the only way the superhero genre, and you talked about this earlier, Matt, this idea of superhero fatigue, right? The only way that this is going to survive is to push the boundaries of the genre to consume other genres, right? This is a political thriller.
It is.
Yeah.
It just happens
Spies.
to have superheroes in it, but it's a political thriller,
It is.
right? And
Right.
that's what's
It's Manchurian
so great.
Candidate type of like, the
In
deep sleeper cell.
Right. It's
Yeah.
a 70s political, and to get
Uh-huh.
Robert Redford.
Redford is great.
Brilliant choice to get
Yeah.
a guy who is known for having done the 70s
Well, all the
political
President's Men.
thrillers.
He was the other side of this.
Right, right.
Well, and a guy who in the right era, had things been different, would have been Captain America.
absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, to see
He'd have been
all
a good
this.
Captain America too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It would have been,
Yeah.
You know? And you see all this going on, then you have the deepening of the relationship between him and Scarlet and Black Widow, and then you have the stuff going on with Nick Fury, and then you have all this stuff going on with Bucky. Like the stuff with Bucky. Like he
Yeah.
has no idea that Bucky's still alive, and then it happens. And you have Crossbones, and there's so much about Winter Soldier that's so interesting, and then the Shield and Hydra stuff. And when all that happens, you're just like, man, this is an intense, dense film.
It is.
And Falcon, getting Falcon
Yeah.
introduced and to have a little heart and that connection and that friendship, you get all of that in this film, and it's just incredible.
Yeah, this is my favorite of the. That's the amazing thing to me about the Captain Americas is, it's a character that I thought was okay in comic books. I liked him with the Avengers, but I
Right.
never read the solo.
Yeah.
and his solo movies have been some of the best. You're like,
Yeah.
wow, you can
You could argue that's the
incorporate.
best trilogy of the Marvel
Oh,
universe.
yeah.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody else can compete with.
I
this.
couldn't say anything like overall. All three of them are watchable and great
Yeah.
Yeah.
in their own way.
all interesting and all engaging, but this is my favorite of those.
So much so that I was confused and I was wrong.
Oh,
It's not on my list at all, but it's because I had Captain America: Civil War
you preferred that one over?
over this. If I
you
had to pick
chose.
one,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Well, I respect you both for choosing only one.
No, I chose two.
Okay.
I had
Yeah,
Civil
he
War
chose
lower,
two, yeah.
and I have Winter Soldier. I think just the pound for pound, they put out some of the more interesting with all the different dynamics of all the different characters, and it helps fuel the overall storyline. It
Yeah.
seems like more so than any other of the franchise.
yeah.
To propel and push this huge monolith.
Yeah.
And the fact that they do it artfully, interestingly, like with a
Yeah.
complexity that you do appreciate.
Yeah.
Because the twist on this, when it finally comes through, is just like, wow, that was really earned.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
it's hard for me to believe that something like this could build, like they could build this huge thing, and it's all through the Hydra, but at the same time, I'm kind of buying that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I appreciate that from this world.
Right.
Yeah, it was a stellar film. Even I know I didn't. It's not the one I picked, but it's still
fine.
I enjoyed so much about it and how it upped the ante so much on the character. With for being the second one to get that entrenched into American politics and into how really even-handed it was. I was very surprised at that. And it's a very nimble film for the tightrope that it has to be on, where the main character is basically the soul of the nation.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be very hard to make a compelling movie that doesn't rub everyone the wrong way. And they really did, I thought.
Yeah,
you know?
Mike, you're right. And that's the thing about Captain America, has always been the soul of the nation. That's in essence why he's named that way, right? So to have him go against the more... and still remember, this is the second... He just came out of the thing. He's still processing the fact that he has been frozen for 70 years.
Decades.
Yeah.
Right. He's got that list of things he still needs to see or watch or experience, right? He's got
Right.
that list. So he's still processing this whole situation. So then to have him go up against Nick Fury, who had recruited him into the Avengers, and then seeing the kind of, in essence, Patriot Act ways that he wants to supposedly defend the nation, but really violate
take away our civil
rights.
liberties.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, like to be able to protect the nation, which is a conversation we're still having now, but we were really having when this film came out.
It's one that's going to continue.
Yes, exactly. And it's incredibly topical. And so...
And showing Nick Fury's point of view from a compelling stance, where you're like, I can't 100% disagree.
Yeah.
There is the danger in the world has escalated
Tremendously.
dramatically, you know, and so it's... I didn't envy either position, you know, but it's a hell of a film. It really is.
Yeah. That was your number 3?
That was my 3. What do you got?
So my number 5 is Captain America: Civil War.
I
put it on, I chose both of them because I couldn't think of a reason not to choose.
Me
both.
too.
I like them so much, and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I only choose one of a series. We do that sometimes at our lists, one of a series. But for this, I really couldn't. I felt like this had every right to be in the top 5 for me.
Okay.
It is a film I go back to a lot because, like we talked about with Guardians of the Galaxy. Two, this film deepens the relationships between the Avengers, introduces Spider-Man deftly, introduces T'Challa's Black Panther so well. Further,
just the sheer amount of characters that it
the
has
airport scene
to
They all
juggle.
have a presence. That's the impressive thing about it. Afterwards, you walk away and you're like, you know what? I saw everyone seems like just the right amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got the first glimpses of Tom Holland as Spider-Man, and it was just like mouth was watering.
Right.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the next one. And to see Ant-Man go into Giant.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this is awesome.
Right.
Seeing that, I was like, this is fucking shit.
Yeah.
This huge. It's like a mini Avengers fight, but they're it's Civil War.
Right,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah, the amount of fun they had in the context of this really dark story.
And then you throw in because you throw in
The Downey Jr.,
but
his parents.
that thing with the parents, and you get the
the lead up to their fight at the end.
Exactly.
You
All
know?
of that going
and the
forward.
Sokovian that's
With
Yeah.
Sharon
all this.
Zemo, all that stuff. But then you understand Zemo's point of view because that voicemail is the last voicemail from his wife and his child.
I think he's a great
After
one of the best
Sokovia.
villains they've had.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and Black Panther's reckoning with him.
Yes.
The way when you think that Black Panther is maybe the 11th character on the list of people they had to deal with, how they soup to nuts encapsulated that character so beautifully in that film is fucking amazing. It's a miracle
Well,
that they were able to get so much into such a small amount of time. Really, the movie's a lean movie. It really
I think that
is not
honestly
very long.
comes
you
down
know?
to Bozeman
It
because
cooks.
after that explosion, I really buy him as someone that solemnly is taking over.
Yeah.
Through just sheer force of acting will.
Yeah.
You're like, that is a guy that is trying to pick himself up by his bootstraps because his dad just died, and now we don't know the mantle that he's overtaking. But that's how good the acting job was. It was just like you believed it was something serious.
Yeah, you
He
knew it
carried
was
himself
important,
with
whatever it
presence.
was.
Yeah,
Right,
I bought that.
And,
You're like, I don't need sentences, paragraphs expressing that. I'm buying it just from his posturing,
Right.
Yeah.
facial, expressions and whatnot. It was
And him
impressive.
choosing not to kill Zemo,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I was like, man, they nailed it. They
Yeah.
just fucking
the
nailed
amount of
it.
pride that he carries around.
Yeah.
You can see.
Well, and that early scene with Downey's flashback,
Yeah.
that was great. I loved that.
De-aging and then having him talk to his
still
parents
slightly
in that way.
jarring though.
Yeah.
Well,
it should be.
The
It'll get
Douglas
better.
and Ant-Man to
Yeah.
me was like, there you go.
And that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, that's like they were building up to it. The Downey Jr. still is like that's a CGI character.
Yeah.
Even though it's
But
damn
it's
fucking
supposed to
close.
be.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Because you remember it's his experiment.
You're right.
Oh, it's in
You
that
know,
hologram.
and it drifts off of him at
Yes.
the
I
end.
never thought of it like that.
And it's like
But the
I
others
noticed
are-
I was like, it's a little more saturated and a little more airbrushed.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so when it dissolves around him and you see just like him blow out the candle and it's still there and then digitally blows out. And I was like, they really put a lot of thought into how they were going to present this.
And
I
once
appreciate that more
And
than
once again,
you
they
know.
put Tony through this shit. That's the thing
Yeah.
that's incredible about
He's the
Downey
heart.
Jr. Yeah, and they put him through so much through all these, even movies that aren't about, like, it's not called Iron Man Civil War, it's called Captain America Civil War. but
Right.
They're still putting him through the paces of all this stuff with his parents. And all this
Yeah.
stuff, so that I would say the end fight scene rivals that airport fight scene. The airport fight scene for spectacle is fantastic.
Yeah.
But
But
for
But you're
stakes?
invested in that final fight.
exactly the ferocity of that
Well, 'cause
final
you
fight
don't,
scene.
you understand both positions
Yeah.
as
Yes.
to why we've reached this inevitable outcome, and just
Right.
like, wow, the motivations were technically pure
Yeah.
Yeah.
for both guys.
On both sides.
And you're trying to shield one from the truth, but the other one is, once he realizes, he escapes the shadow of not knowing.
And you're asking one
Yeah.
to sacrifice his best friend, which is his last connection to his past,
To his life.
After Peggy has died earlier in the movie, it's his last connection to his past, and it's
Yeah.
back from the dead. So you're asking him
Right.
to kill him or sacrifice him to a degree in exchange for this new guy that just came on your team that you don't know as well, you didn't grow up with, you don't have the memories
Yeah.
with, and it was so powerful.
But at the same time, you knew his father,
Right.
And knew,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
worked side by side with him.
There's so
There's
much
so
there.
many great layers to it, and they capitalized on all of them.
Yeah.
Bringing Alfre Woodard in,
Yes.
it was a great choice.
Which is
'cause
at the
she-
last minute. They
Yeah.
wrote that character in at the last minute.
Really?
And had her come and shoot that.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Because she's a different character.
on Luke Cage.
Yeah, exactly. So they
Okay.
brought her
I haven't
in
watched
to
that
do
yet.
But she's I've always been a fan of hers, and
yeah.
she nailed it in that small amount of time that she had to sell basically this huge paradigm shift for Tony Stark. They made it work.
Yeah.
In that little scene. They made it believable to me.
and
you
laid
know,
the groundwork for the accords that were passed.
yeah,
That there is a real cost to this,
Yeah.
what they do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And my son was a computer. He was young. He was 20. He was
Yeah.
killed in this thing because of what you
Because
guys
of
were
your
doing.
actions.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That was just great.
And there's no oversight for you. You just get to run rampant, and you killed someone.
Yeah.
And here's the face of the collateral damage.
Which is the difference.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get too deep into this, but this is the difference between Marvel and DCEU. Marvel,
Absolutely.
DCEU has the Superman Doomsday fight, like, all that damage that was caused in that fight.
Oh.
And the next
Hell, the Superman Zod fight.
Yeah, I
No,
was
no,
gonna
the
say
Superman
Zod.
Zod fight. That's
They
what I meant.
destroy.
And then you have this, and then because they got so much flack for that, the next film you have the anchor going, "Oh, it's a good thing everybody's gone home." But that's not how you
So
fucking handle
brutal.
it.
So brutal.
Yeah.
And it's like a downtown business area at like 6:30
Yeah.
p.m.
That's
You're like,
not how you
nobody's
fucking
all
handle
gone.
that.
There's
Yeah.
nobody's
Yeah.
all. Oh, the cleaning crews didn't come in. It's a Tuesday. Everybody knows no one cleans these
right.
buildings on a Tuesday.
Yeah, on a Tuesday.
Thank God that happened today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's why
what's the
they had
weather
that
like?
whole sequence with Batman in a minivan zipping around. This, what the fuck are you doing?
I don't know.
Go home. You're drunk, DC.
That was my number 5. So
Yep.
then my number 4 is Thor Ragnarok.
That is called a punt.
Oh,
That is called a punt.
that is my number 5.
All right. Well, we'll have to wait, I guess,
Well,
for
that
yours.
is too low on 2 lists. I'll tell you that.
All right. So that's your number 5.
Yeah.
So but we have to punt anyway.
Yeah.
So what's your number 4?
Oh, my number 4 was Captain America: Civil War.
Okay, and your
What's
number
your
3?
three?
Superman 2.
Ooh.
Look at you.
Yeah.
My baby's all grown up.
Stop.
My baby's all. I hate the original Supermans.
He does.
Okay.
He hates both
Hate.
of them. This is
All
one
three.
that this is one that I had to sacrifice because of the Niagara Falls storyline. It just does not hold up for me now in retrospect, which is such a shame because the Zod stuff is
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
And the whatever they are when they're what are they sent
The
into?
other universe.
What is that? What they're sent into?
It's like a special
The
jail.
Phantom Zone.
The Phantom
Phantom
Zone,
Zone.
yes, that
Yeah.
stuff is incredible. But
Yeah.
for whatever reason, that fucking Niagara Falls storyline now just kind of grates on me. But
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Mike.
that's-
Go ahead. Yes, this is your
No, well, that's, it was a different time.
Yes,
it was,
sure.
and
Absolutely.
it does date the film, and I can't disagree with any of that, but they needed something to set up her finding out about him.
Right.
And some way for them to be intimate for so long that she could find out
Right.
without actually fucking him.
Yeah.
And it was the 70s. What are they going to do?
Yeah.
The Zod stuff, Terrence Stamp carries that movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Christopher Reeve. I don't care what anyone says. Christopher Reeve is the Superman, and no one has topped him yet or come anywhere close, really, in my mind.
I don't disagree with that.
What I like how Lex Luthor was played in this one, because to me that seemed very true to the character, that he would immediately sell out Earth.
Yes.
If as long as he got Florida, and he would definitely sell out Superman,
Yes.
without question. But I think in that time, Lex Luthor worked better as a comic relief.
Yeah.
And I love it a hell of a lot more than Jesse Eisenberg and anything that he
Jesus
did at all.
Yeah.
Kevin Spacey, it's hard to say now, and, but
That film is tracing, though. I really
but
don't like.
I didn't care for that film much. It was mostly Superman just
It
lifting
was
shit.
dull.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very
It was
dull.
Because unfortunately, Ralph wasn't a good.
I mean, the
Yeah.
747 sequence,
Yeah.
that was pretty sweet.
Sure.
But outside of that, I'm like, the
But
rest of
even
movie
that,
was boring as
it
fuck
was
to me.
like they made the dullest choices with that. Like when he had the heat vision, and you can't really see it, you just see kind of like steam rays coming from his eyes. Whereas, like, for all of Zack Snyder's problems, his heat vision looks like fucking heat
Yes,
vision.
it does.
Okay.
And
I will defend that.
and it was a lot more cinematic. It's like, you're making a movie, make the cinematic choice, the one that engages the eyes the most, And it's like, who gives a shit if heat vision wouldn't actually look like that?
Right.
Yeah, you're trying to recreate.
Yeah,
also
it's
the comic
it's a
book
damn movie.
exactly.
It's
Yeah,
what
but
I paid for.
You have God in essence.
Yeah.
Make
Yeah.
God interesting.
Yeah, exactly, absolutely. If you can't make God interesting, go the fuck home.
Exactly. Fly, bullets. I
Yeah.
did like the bullet.
The bullet to
landing
the
on his
eye.
eye.
Yeah.
And just crumpling and falling down.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Sure.
Yeah.
First time I saw that, I was like, that is awesome.
That was great. Yeah, the whole Gatling gun.
Yeah. Just
all of that
just
stuff.
walking right into it.
If the movie had been full of shit like that, I would have been all for
It'd have been awesome.
But also, it was lit poorly.
Yeah.
The color choice for his costume, he's not Batman. Don't give him a maroon cape. It's a fucking red cape. Part of the reason it's red is so that you can track him in the sky and see what he's doing. But they gave him these like really muted, shitty colors. It looked like someone had smeared shit on the whole movie. That was part of the problem with it. But back to Superman 2, though,
Yes.
which is what we're actually talking about. Terrence Stamp just nails it in that movie. One of the best comic book villains of all time.
Even within the possible campiness of it,
Oh, yeah.
he brings a reality
yeah, he does.
to it, a
Yeah.
truthfulness. When he makes E.G. Marshall kneel as the president,
Yeah.
in that moment is so damn
Well, and even the moment before it, when the
Yeah.
other guy kneels and you're not the president, no one who has that much power would kneel so quickly.
Yes.
Some of the dialogue he had was so great, but only someone like him could deliver it and make it work as well as he did. And to me, that's where, in my mind, the Christopher Reeve Superman ends.
Yeah.
Is Superman 2. I've seen Superman 3 and I like Richard Pryor a lot.
Right.
And
Oh, God.
Superman 4 and Nuclear Man and all that shit.
Yeah.
It happened.
Yeah.
I can't deny that it happened.
Just brutal.
But to me, that was the peak of Superman on film so far, really.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a shame.
I've been a fan of this controversial idea of destroying films.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to destroy Superman 3 and 4, Crystal Skull,
Phantom
Sure.
Menace.
5, Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
I think you should be able to destroy these films. I think there is no possible service.
For the sake
well,
of art.
For the sake of art.
Destroy art
otherwise,
for art's sake.
If we don't know our history, we're doomed to repeat it. So if we destroy it, inevitably somebody's going to make that turd again.
Right.
So we need to have that in the zeitgeist on some level so we go, that was a bad idea.
Yeah.
All of this.
Well-
all 100 minutes of this. It was just terrible.
What if we show Darth Vader as a kid? I think they did that. It's not in the archives anywhere, but I think they tried that once and it went really wrong.
Well, that's what you have Clone Wars for, and
Yeah.
don't fucking touch anything else. I'm just saying.
So many. I mean, we were talking about the racist characters from before. There are other
Yeah.
choices in that movie. You're just like, what is going?
Yeah.
Like
with
when they're
Phantom?
about to do
Oh,
the
yeah.
pod race, and that one animal
Oh,
that's
I
like
hate
a
the
mule
pod
or
race.
something and farts right into the camera's face, and then turns around like makes a weird
Yeah.
face at Jar Jar, and Jar Jar's kind of turned on or something. Something
Yeah.
happens where
Yeah.
I remember watching one. The fuck the fuck am I watching?
I'll try spinning. That's a good trick.
Yeah. It's like, wait,
God damn it.
dear God. I love watching the behind the scenes though now when he walks out. Like the first time he's like just finished the first draft and there's 30 people in the office and they all stand up and applaud him like Caesar has returned.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
He's
paying
holding
their
it
checks?
up. Exactly. I just made it to Olympus, guys. Just made it to the top. Here we go.
Pablo's in there, by the way. Pablo's in there, I think.
Oh.
So
And when he screens it for it's Spielberg and somebody else, and then it kind of ends, and you give those false like praise of like you really did something there, huh?
it's really good work.
Yeah.
It's really good work.
How long did that take to edit? Wow, like asking questions that don't have any stakes.
That's something. How do you
What would you
choose
call
what to
that
edit?
blue?
Do you have battles with Ken and Joseph about the prequels?
No, I try not to.
Because I didn't know you.
I want to
so
be invited
vehemently
back
against it.
on the shows, so I try not to tell the truth too often.
Well, maybe that's why Joseph hasn't had me on Force Center in a while. But yeah, I didn't know you were so against him. But anyway, Superman 2, like like he even makes it work. Terrence does with the guy playing the heavy and the girl, the other actress playing the girl. Like it makes it work all around because they all have very defined characters, and what they're doing. And when the twist happens in the Fortress of Solitude of all places, it's really fun to see that twist.
Yeah.
And Luther's great reaction.
Yeah.
I knew the whole time you had him. I knew. All that
Yeah,
kind
I
of
really
stuff.
enjoyed all of that.
Yeah.
And even like the Superman having silly powers in the Fortress of Solitude, like the huge S that he can throw off of his chest. Even as a kid, I was like, this is bullshit. This doesn't make any fucking sense at all.
They're like, well,
But-
if we could spin him back in time,
Yeah.
we could throw an S.
Yeah, why not?
What do they call those? What do they call those?
What?
The colors you put over the lights. What do they call that shit?
Oh, gel.
Gel. That's
Yeah.
what it was. It was basically his S was a
He had
gel.
a
was
gel
throwing
that he
on top.
threw at him. And then Jaws attacking the statue of
that's right.
Superman. When did he have time to make that? But he did.
He did.
Not a fan. I'm just no.
I know.
Everything
I
about
know.
those.
I know you hate him. All right, what's your number 2?
Worst. As a punt from earlier, guys, it should be all of our number 2. Thor Ragnarok.
No.
Thor Ragnarok.
So my number 5.
Look, this is now, it's infinitely rewatchable. This thing has enough comedy and enough amazing action that it's just like, this is going to be part of my life for the rest of my life. I already know it because I've already watched it a bunch of times.
Right.
I do. It's just like, boom, it has its hooks so deep in me. I love all the jokes.
Yeah.
I love the action, the color palette, the choice of
Yeah.
the characters, the arena they set
The
them in.
Kirby sort of artwork that they did all
Yeah.
throughout it.
Yeah, all the
Yeah.
little Easter eggs they managed to hide throughout. The interplay when like the uncomfortableness when Thor and Loki's up in the skybox.
Oh, yeah.
next to and just like,
Yeah.
hey, look, Thor. And then when the Hulk looks up and Loki kind of,
I have to get off this planet. Yeah.
exactly. And then he smashes Thor and he just gets, that's what it's like. Just like, fuck you, you've been giving me
Yeah.
shit for years.
That's an 8-year callback.
Exactly, just like pissed at his brother. Like,
Yeah.
that's what you get, you fucking cocksucker. Oh.
They paid off so much stuff
Yeah.
that
So
had been
much.
set up, and
Just getting his name wrong. What is it, the Lord of Thunder?
Yeah.
He keeps calling him like, the God of Thunder. Just keeps undercutting him over and
send
over.
you back to Asberg or
Yeah.
Assland.
Asland.
And,
Just over and over. That whole fight between them.
yeah,
But then,
I loved Thor being totally overwhelmed through the entire movie.
Through the entire movie.
I loved the God of Thunder being completely out of his depth.
Yeah.
Through and every time he thought that he wasn't, it just got worse.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, they really put that character through the ringer from beginning to end, and then showed a lot of levels to Chris Hemsworth that were just not evident before.
Yeah.
And I really admired the balls they had to do the film the way they did it and the tone they took, the director they chose, which was fucking
apparently
great.
there was a bunch of improv on the set.
Yeah.
You can kind of see it. There's a liveliness to it that doesn't really exist in a lot of
You
the
could
movies.
tell they had a lot of fun making that
Hell
movie.
yeah.
And that always translates when
you watch
Yeah,
you
they
know,
all like each other. They're there having a good
Yeah.
time. Yeah, 100%.
And I mean little details were that hell god at the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's Clancy Brown, who's
Yes.
fucking awesome.
At first, it was like, I don't know, like when he drops down on that chain,
Yeah.
like the way they played that off, because at first I was like, this seems really dumb.
Right.
Yeah.
And the fact that they just committed to the dumb, and
Yeah.
it pivots, but it pivots back. Like it shows him as an imperfect being.
Yeah.
And he also thinks his power is all wrapped up in just the hammer. The hammer gives him the power.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, you know what? If you don't realize that it's you and not this,
Yeah.
then you don't deserve this to help.
What I love about the film is that on the larger beats, it's Dumbo.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
Oh.
you know, that's his magic feather.
Right.
That's
You
interesting.
know, and they really had so much fun with it, and you know, the way they used Bruce Banner and
Yes.
the Hulk, and
He's like trying to figure out where are we, and they go down
Yeah.
into it, and then suddenly there's just Cinco de Mayo type Hulk parade. Like
Yeah.
they're throwing those that Indian cultural thing where they throw the powdered chalk or whatever in the air.
color, yeah.
And just puffs of green, and everybody's got Hulk statues. What's going on here? Nothing, man. Nothing. We're just kind of like trying
And
to
him
get
wearing
through.
Tony Stark's clothes.
Yeah, and it's too tight in the crotch.
Great, yeah.
And he has to keep like pulling it down. Like these are terrible.
I was like, they just there was so much love put into that
Yes.
movie.
Yeah.
Through the credits, through all the way through, like from the very beginning to the very end of that movie is a good time.
Yeah, and,
You know?
you guys are comedians. You guys know, like, the basic rule of comedy is even if you're the best looking guy on the stage with all the muscles and everything, you've got to make it seem like you've got a lot of issues so that people can relate
Yeah.
to you.
Right.
And Thor does that. Chris Hemsworth does that throughout the entire movie. Mike, you made a great
Yeah.
point. He's overwhelmed the whole time.
Yeah.
But he still gets to be a badass at the end, even
Yeah.
though he's overwhelmed, because you still like him you connect to him so much as a person that you start to root as the underdog for the God of Thunder, for
Yeah.
Odin's
Oh,
son.
yeah.
All
Yeah.
of a sudden is an underdog in your mind. And you're
When
like,
they
how the fuck
kick
did they do
in
this? Is
Yeah.
incredible.
Immigrant Song the second time,
Oh,
Lord,
dude.
my God.
mother
So good.
fucker.
That is an image from a comic book. When
That-
he's-
that
he's
is
slow
perfect.
motion, the lightning.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's
cock was
fucking perfect.
It is. Just
like
right
you-
into action, too. Just absolutely perfect.
Yeah, I didn't want to. You could tell me anything else was happening. Natalie Portman's having a dick sucking contest a block over. Do you want to leave the theater right now? No. I want to see how this turns out.
I think I go just because you can get this on DVD. I can pay
Yeah, I can always come
It's a
back.
one-time event only
can-
unless Natalie Portman's career
sure
took a
there's
turn
another
I know
show
about.
Natalie does this shit all the time.
Really? It's performance art.
It's before.
Yeah.
She's gonna dress like Jane Foster. All right, well then now I'm going.
No.
Now Thor's
There are
kind of
layers.
related, so I feel like I'm missing out if I don't go.
No, but you're right, and then you get Tessa walking. in
I'm
slow
sorry if
motion.
you're listening, Natalie. I apologize. You probably don't do that.
She's a long-time listener, by the way.
A long time
Big
listener.
time.
Yeah.
Long time.
Takes us on our trips.
She enjoyed that we've been putting our classics out on Patreon.
Yeah.
She already messaged me.
Well, consider it a shout out. A shout out to Natalie Portman.
And your performance art.
With
You-
Tessa walking in slow motion is badass, as well as Valkyrie.
Yeah.
They did such a good
Oh,
job
yeah.
setting her up with you drunk and the stuff that she's going through emotionally, and then you
Yeah.
the image of Thor in slow
The
motion
Valkyrian
with immigrant
fight.
song
Yeah.
is like that Valkyrie fight is incredible, is just as visually incredible as
Yeah.
the Hulk.
It's a painting
or
come
as
to
the
life.
Thor rather, yeah, painting
And Hela in general.
Right.
Just everything about her.
Awesome.
that's the sexiest Kate Blanchett
Motherfucker.
ever been.
And
And that's saying a lot.
and it is saying
yeah.
because she's usually a very attractive, sexy woman.
And I
To
love,
see like this.
I love the context of the character of is this
Yeah.
sister you didn't know you had, and
Yeah.
how do you think all of this was built?
Right.
Yeah.
She destroys the former glory,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
Odin was trying to push this under the
Yeah.
rug. We're a peaceful people. How
It's
we
not
got all
tea
these
parties
kingdoms.
and gardens. and
Yeah,
shit.
exactly.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
hellfire. It is we
Yeah.
came in and just crushed you.
Exactly. Come to church.
Yeah.
Forget the Crusades. That
yeah.
never happened. Come to church.
When
We're
they
gonna help
showed
you.
her in that full outfit with the antlers and everything,
Say good night, son.
man, I could not believe, because that's how Kirby drew her.
Yeah.
And I was like, what a glorious time that I live in
You can see that.
for as a Marvel fan
Yeah.
to see that character on screen and as real as it could possibly
Right.
Yeah, come to life.
be, you know. And I love they honored him so much in that movie with the different costumes
Yes.
and the different sets. There were actual like Kirby paintings hidden in the background and
Oh, yeah?
stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, I gotta catch
Yeah,
that.
if you look online. They can show
Yeah.
the stills. This one and then this one.
Yeah, listen to the commentary on it. It's really interesting that they talk about putting love into a movie. They put
Yeah.
so much
You can see it.
into the production work and into the costumes, and everybody looked interesting, whether they were on screen for half a second or what, you know.
Yeah, and what you say about bringing out the best of Hemsworth, Taika Waititi is from the area, like New Zealand, Australia, Hemsworth there. So they had, like, when at Hall H, they had a great back and forth that is, you can tell it's just people that are from a certain area that understand how to ball bust each other in a certain way.
Yeah, there's a common language.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was very funny how they were going at Australia versus New Zealand.
Yeah, they
and
got
all of that. And
slang
throwing in
cut
Carl
downs for each
Urban.
other we've never heard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And throwing in Carl Urban, who's also from that area, throwing in all that, like, having them all back and forth is just brilliant.
Yeah, Carl Urban almost being a throwaway character and still
Fucking
just
bones.
lighting up the movie.
I thought he was going to drive me nuts, and I love him in everything he's in.
Yeah.
Literally, I have watched everything that he's like.
Yeah.
Once I basically started noticing him coming up in movies.
Yeah.
I watched. We talked about it a few weeks ago, but I watched his failed Fox TV show that lasted like 10 episodes.
Being
was a
human
good
or
show.
almost
It wasn't-
human.
It
or
was
whatever.
interesting.
Yeah.
It was interesting. They deviated from what they originally set up in like the first couple episodes, and
Yeah.
it became
Yeah.
like a procedural.
Yeah.
But like Dread.
Dread is
or-
great.
I
Yeah.
wish Dread would be like a series.
So do I.
There's rumors, and Carlos said he'll come back and do
Yeah, he
it
said
if
he'd
they
come
do
out for a
series.
movie or for a
series,
TV show.
yeah.
Anything.
He'd great on
if
Netflix.
He's awesome.
If they made like a pull no punches series, like FX style or something like that, oh, I would love that so much.
Yeah.
Well, they did
that
it with
movie was
Punisher.
great, and that movie is one of the few movies that I love, absolutely love in 3D.
Yeah.
It works.
there aren't a lot of
especially with
movies
the slow mo stuff
that I feel that way about,
Oh,
but
it's-
that one
looks so
definitely.
gorgeous.
I'd say there's maybe 4 movies that I can think of that I like in 3D.
Wow.
And
Okay,
that's
Jaws 3D.
yes,
This
Friday the
Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Friday the
Sure.
Yeah.
Friday 13th Part 3. Yes, absolutely.
It's a
All
whole
the
other
classics.
list. Whole other list.
All right, so what do you got at two?
Oh yeah, I'm all like caught up in our conversation. My number 2 is The Dark Knight.
Ooh,
That's called a punt.
that's a pun.
That's a punt too.
Yeah.
That is a punt.
Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
How could that be a punt if that's my number 2?
Well, because
there's only one way.
Son of a.
because of the 3-man.
All right, fine.
Otherwise, we'd be talking about it.
All right, what's your number 4?
My number 4.
Or his number 2.
Number
My
2,
number
sorry.
2. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah,
Because
you're dancing around. You're
My,
dancing all.
my number 2 is Logan.
That's okay.
Okay, I forgot about that.
You forgot about Logan?
Well, I guess it's two. No. The fact that it was going to end up like that. 2 number
Yeah.
ones versus
Yeah.
One number 2.
Logan's my number 1.
Yeah.
Where do you
So-
put Logan?
I don't know.
So what's
I have
happening?
Dark Knight.
At
You
number
have
1.
Dark Knight. Well, yeah. Usually we just have.
Clearly
this is the first
it's-
time this has ever come
Yeah.
up where it's like, oh shit, there's a lot
Where
of
the lists have
Where
revealed
did you have
themselves.
Logan? Do you have Logan on your list?
Yeah, I hit it like 4.
Oh, okay.
There's a punt for me.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I called it a punt. All right, so let's talk.
So
Which are we
okay,
talking about first?
I have no idea. Let's go Logan.
Logan.
Let's go
probably.
Logan. Done.
Yeah. Great movie. real fresh, real good. Is,
Look, we're nothing if not professional on this
Yeah.
show. I don't know what you
I've seen
anticipated when you
Logan
drove
30
here.
times. It is a film that I can't stop watching.
did you watch the black and white version of it?
Yes, I
yet?
bought the black and white.
There's a black and white version?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just like they did
I
with
didn't know
Fury
that.
Road. It's so great to watch it in black
Yeah.
and white as well. And it's a film that works for me on multiple. It just, to me, it just beats Dark Knight a little bit because the further I get away from Christian Bale's Batman, the less I enjoy it. So
Okay.
that kind of denigrates it a little bit for me. Whereas I'm still in the throes of loving Hugh Jackman as Logan and
Yeah.
loving X-23.
Still in the
Loving-
throes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will
You're
be
still in the
about-
honeymoon
Yes,
period
I
with,
really am.
with Hugh
'Cause They
Jackman.
finally got it fucking right.
Yeah.
Standalone.
That's
And
why
yes.
it goes down just the tiniest bit for me
okay.
because
It
by the time I
took
saw
9 movies.
yeah, like I could almost put Wolverine, the one set in Japan, for the first half of it. Oh
yeah.
I was
which
so
is
engaged.
Mangold as well.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
Mangold as
Up
well.
until that subway fight, where when he's on the car and like on top of it, like I'm in, and it's like right after that, it starts going a little bit downhill more
Yeah.
and more as time passes.
yeah.
Up
Yep.
until that, I was like, hell yeah, this movie
This is great.
awesome.
Yeah.
Why is he fighting a robot?
Yeah,
What
at the
the
end, it's like,
fuck?
what? The
Yeah, this
and
was
the
so good.
female Venom reptilian
Yeah, she was
character, man,
terrible.
she was
Yeah.
terrible.
Terrible
It's
actress.
like, what the fuck
I remember
is going
when,
on?
work again.
when she appeared, some like teeny bopper girl was 2 rows back and went, ew. And then I was like, she summed it up.
Yeah, she's not wrong.
Yeah, she's not wrong.
That's also the
Yeah.
depth that character has.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Ew.
reason for being on my screen right now.
Ew.
And it's frustrating too because that Silver Samurai storyline is great in Wolverine.
Yeah.
But you're
and they
just
pissed it
mashing
away.
together.
Yeah,
I was
they
like,
pissed it
oh, you
away.
could have made it so much more. You
Yeah,
could have
the opening,
done.
like catching those hunters, and
Yeah.
like, this is good. Just goes roughshod through that bar. It's like hell yes.
Which is what I think Mangold went to them and said, "Don't fuck with my movie like you fucked with my movie the last time.
Yeah.
Let me direct the movie. I want to direct. It's going to be the last time he's going to do it. Let us
Yeah.
do it ourselves, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened because Mangold, that first hour and 20 minutes of that fucking Wolverine movie is great, and then all that shit happens, and then you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, absolutely. That I feel exactly the same, and I loved seeing kind of that one last ride vibe that the whole movie had. But that scene where he's all amped up at the end, finally, and he's running through the forest, I was like, it's worth it just for this scene, just for this moment, you know. And he's such a good actor. Patrick Stewart,
man,
killed it for basically his swan song as Professor X.
Yeah.
I thought the two of them just nailed it, and in such a tragic and beautiful way to bring those characters to a close. I thought, man, it was just so good, and the overall story was fun. I love that they finally didn't pull punches on the violence of a very violent character.
It is.
It's my frustration with Star Wars in general of the idea that this is all a family thing. Every single one of them, someone gets something chopped off.
Yeah, it's true.
Or he gets cut in fucking half. If not, you know, a guy gets stuffed into the belly of an animal to stay warm.
And that's just this immediate story. We've already seen worlds get blown up.
Yeah.
5
You know,
planets.
and
in
it's
Force
like
Awakens. Yeah.
I get that it appeals to families, but don't make it a family movie.
Right.
Let it be what it is, and let that appeal come on its own.
That's why I enjoy Rogue One,
You
because
know-
at least they took fucking chances to have
Yeah.
Exactly. That's an
consequences
adult
to the
movie.
violence. Yeah, it's an adult movie.
Yeah. And, you know, I almost didn't put this as a sequel because I hate thinking of it being
It
part
is.
of
Yeah.
Wolverine.
Once you
and,
bring in
you know,
Xavier, then
yeah.
you're calling back to things they've already if it was just
Right.
him on his own, I would buy that more. But
Yeah, but it is a tremendous standalone movie.
yeah,
too.
and
like,
all the characters are referencing the fact that they know him.
Yes.
yeah,
That just like he is, hey,
Yeah.
oh shit, you're
Right.
Wolverine, kind of like you've existed in my life too.
and I love the idea of their myth being so powerful that it becomes comic
comic
books.
book?
Yes.
I thought that was great.
Yeah.
The use of music in that movie, the different choices, I Got a Name and stuff like that. Man, they did some really stellar stuff with that. And the little moments of humor that didn't go over.
Right.
You know, they really never went overboard. They all fit what was happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because no matter what's happening, tragedy or whatever you're trying to run, there's always moments to have a little bit of back and forth of humor, just to take the stress off the situation, right? A little bit of levity, just so you can feel somewhat human again.
Yeah.
And
Which is what the entire thing is about.
Exactly.
Really, you know.
And it's a great Western on its
Yeah.
own, right? Once again,
Yeah.
if this genre is going to keep existing, it has to consume other genres. It has to be like
It
other
does,
genres. This is a Western.
There's got to be a
superhero
cycle to this.
And I like that it made a nod to westerns
Yeah, with
also.
Shane and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also at the end, like, and as sports fans, I don't know how much of a sports fan you, but like,
Yeah.
when you like professional wrestling, right, Mike? Are you into that? or
Yeah,
no?
yeah,
Like it's like Taker, right? Taker one last great match, and then he can be done, right? It's that
Right.
kind of thing, and you're seeing that with Logan when he gets that hyped up and he's slicing through everyone. It's
Yeah.
that one last one. It's Favre having one last night of 4 touchdowns on a Monday Night Football after his
Yeah.
dad died and he's 50 years old or whatever. So you love that one last time for you to fall in love with the character.
And even like
it's
what could be
awesome.
more cathartic than killing basically himself at the end, you know?
The guilt that he carries
Yeah.
over who he was when he was younger and the things he did.
Now about
Yeah.
that, did you read Old Man Logan?
Yes.
Where it's different with like
Completely.
have you read it?
You have
No.
Old Man
No,
Hawkeye.
I know
in
what
there.
it is, but no.
There's so much. It's great.
It's very different where actually the responsibility for the death of all the X-Men is on Wolverine.
Yeah.
Where
How so?
Mysterio, they do a thing that's pretty smart, which had never been done before, where all the villains kind of get together and go, part of the problem is each of our enemies know us. What if we all shift a little and each of us fight someone else's
Right.
enemy? And so what they do is Mysterio, one of Spider-Man's enemies, who's really
Sure.
good with illusions, basically tricks Wolverine into thinking that the X-Mansion has been invaded by bad guys that have killed all the other X-Men.
Oh, it's Invasion of the Body Snatchers. They've taken over.
And so what he's seeing is the killers of all of his friends, but what's actually there are his friends.
Sure.
And so he runs through the house and basically just kills everyone in the
all
X
the X-Men.
Mansion.
Kills all the X-Men
And
itself.
and then they leave him. They're like, we can't kill him, but we can break him.
Yeah, and
and
then-
so that's what they do.
And the illusion goes, and he goes off and goes and lives on a farm. Essentially, what Superman does in Kingdom Come.
Yeah.
He goes and lives on a farm by himself with this wife and children. And he wants. It's Unforgiven. It's like
Yeah, how could it not be?
Unforgiven.
Yeah, he
doesn't
hasn't
want-
popped his claws in like 30 years.
Right. He does, and everyone knows he's still there, but they all leave him alone.
Yeah.
And then this thing happens, and he has to go on this like thing to essentially avenge, and then go after like Red Skull. He finds out Red Skull is behind this whole thing, and Old Man
Wow.
Hawkeye drives him like through this. It's a great read, Matt. It's a great read, and
Yeah.
Old Man
But now that
Hawkeye
you
is
guys
part
have
of it.
spoiled the entire thing for me.
No, there's
saying with the
so
end.
much more that we haven't even gotten
You
into.
bastards.
So much that we haven't even. That
Yeah.
just skims the
You guys
surface.
just saw my Cheerios and you're like, I'm peeing in those.
There's a
I'm fucking
reason.
peeing in those.
There's rumors that they
It's
might-
only been out 10 years.
Yeah.
You're right. You haven't had enough time.
Listen, but there wasn't this resurgence of it's okay as a grown man to read comic books. Just like I don't remember. 10
there was
years
for
ago.
me, damn it.
But like 10 years ago, I would never have guessed. I knew 30 dudes our age that watch wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
You were
30
like,
30 dudes.
I either do this or I see what a vagina feels like. Tough call.
Eventually, and then you come back around and be like, "Well, I got time for this too."
Yeah.
You know,
That's-
you figure it out. You make time. For
one
what you
doesn't
Yeah.
always cancel out the other.
exactly. You don't do the two at the same time.
Yeah.
So
Seldom.
But no, and there's so much about it that just like I think Jackman. I mean, the whole scene, like the X-23 stuff is just. It's so touching and moving and incredible, and Daphne Keane does an incredible job holding her own. So
Yeah.
I don't want to belabor the point too much. We should move on. But this is just a film that it's
Yeah.
incredible that it in
Yeah,
one
you really have no excuse to not see this movie, you know.
exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So then Dark Knight.
Dark Knight is
you
number
guys
one.
number one.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
nothing
please.
supplanted that for me.
Okay.
That's still my number
Yeah.
one all time.
I understand what you're saying about
Sure.
Christian Bale's Batman, which had already been, ripped apart in Batman Begins and all that stuff. But I actually like the character more in this one, in this incarnation. And part of it is not so much when he's in full costume as Batman, but when he's Bruce Wayne and you see him doing different things. Like there's that part where he's driving around the city in the Lamborghini
saves
looking
the dude.
Oh yeah. To save
looking
the guy.
for the hospital, and to see if there are corrupt cops and all that stuff. And there's a moment in there where Alfred wants a status update, and he goes, "I see Brooks and O'Malley and a new officer I don't know," and he keeps going, and you're like, that motherfucker has memorized everyone on the police
Of course
force.
he has. He's the best detective
He's
of all
fucking
time.
Batman.
Yeah.
And I was like, there are little things in the movie that he does that show how Batman he is.
Well,
like,
when he's faking sleeping at the the
yeah.
business meeting and whatnot.
yeah,
And Lucius Fox walks in, like the other members of his side and the other side look at him like this playboy billionaire asshole.
Yeah.
And they all walk out, and Lucius is like, "What'd you think?" And be like, "Their numbers don't add up." Like he was,
Yeah.
he was paying attention the whole time, but
Oh,
he's
yeah.
playing this character, the artifice
Right.
of what he feels the public persona needs to be in order for that to draw the attention away from what he actually feels he needs to be doing.
when the Joker's invaded the party and he's going to the panic room.
Yeah.
And that one guy stops him and he just breaks apart his gun immediately and like just keeps going. Just doesn't break stride at all while he's doing that. And then when he is Batman, he'd grown into a comfort with that character where like when the Joker has the line about you've got a little fight in you. I like that. And he says, "You're going to love me." I was like, that's Batman.
Yep.
Yeah.
That he has that.
There's a
little
masochistic-
bit of humor in there.
Yes.
And
confidence.
yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
confidence. And that questioning scene between the two of them,
It's one of the greatest
It's
scenes
awesome.
ever in
it's
any
fucking
The tension.
incredible. Incredible.
Tension is great.
irrelevant
Uh,
of superhero.
yeah.
It's one of the greatest scenes ever in history of
Yeah.
film.
And the argument I always make for The Dark Knight is there are at least 3 scenes in that movie that would be the finale of any James Bond movie.
That's a great point.
They're the truck flipping.
Yes.
Yeah.
The skyscraper fucking jump from one to another.
Yeah.
The pulling extraction where he,
in Hong
goes
Kong?
back into a fucking
Yeah.
jumbo jet. There's so much going on in that movie, and the movie is so grandiose. The hospital blowing up, that any of those things are like, oh, I forgot they flipped a fucking truck in that movie. I mean,
Under the L in Chicago.
yeah,
In a tunnel.
on fucking Whacker. They did,
Exactly.
it's an amazing film. With the Joker not even being mentioned, it's an amazing film. Then you bring Heath Ledger's performance into it on top of that, and it is a fucking masterpiece.
I just think they got all the periphery characters done, like Lucius Fox.
Yeah.
When the one guy figures out who Batman
Oh,
is.
yeah.
Yeah, and he goes in, and at first he's like assessing the threat, and he's like, this guy has something, and eventually
Yeah.
just goes, basically, he's like, what are you
gonna do? Yeah.
That's still Batman then, if you're conceding that point.
Yeah.
So what exactly do you think you're going to do here?
You're in your job. Your idea is to blackmail him.
Yeah.
That's your brilliant plan.
Yeah.
You thought you came in with something, and you actually
Yeah.
came out with a bigger problem. Now Batman knows you know.
Yeah.
That is a much worse problem.
And that actor
Yeah.
did a great job because basically his balls liquefied.
Oh,
that
he
moment.
did. He went
did a
from
great
cocky
job.
little
Yeah.
prick to neutered dog instantly, and you're like, man, that is so good.
Yeah, he
So
was
good.
terrific. He was terrific
And
for
then,
that part.
Like the
I'll
bond
just
you can see that they
let
have
you have
between-
these then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the bond between him and Bruce later when he agrees
Yeah.
to the surveillance thing,
Yeah.
and then Bruce upholds his. But
Yeah.
just that give and take between the two of
Well, and-
like I
and-
can't exceed this authority. I understand
Lucius
that.
is a man of principle because
Yeah.
he says
Yeah.
to him, I will do this for you,
This
and then I
once.
resign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm done with you. And then that
Yeah.
was what he does. And it's great how it plays out that his code destroys the whole thing. And that's the
Exactly.
respect.
I
that he
needed
has
this
for
once.
Yeah.
I'm not going to rely on this. This is
And
not
what
a
you said nailed it
solution.
too, like the double entendre of what you said. His code
Yeah.
is what destroys it. Yeah, that is. It's a genius film.
Yeah.
I was really lucky. I got to be on the SAG nominating committee the year that movie came out.
Oh, really?
wow.
I got to see it 2 months before it came out with everyone in the cast except for Heath Ledger, of course.
Wow. Okay.
And just to see the way they'd caught lightning in a bottle in that movie. And there was a lady 2 rows behind me who said, she was like, I got dragged to this movie because I don't really like comic book stuff at all. She was, tears were
Yeah.
streaming down her face. She was that into it. She was like, I just want to thank you for this amazing movie.
Wow.
And yeah, it's
From the jump,
unbelievable.
Just they open and there's that low little under that bing,
Yes.
and it just
Yeah.
it sets you on edge from the moment. There's this this weird
I saw that
eeriness.
shitty Will Smith film to see that
What,
opening.
After Earth?
No,
Hancock?
Well, that was years before.
the Last Man movie. I'm the last.
I Am Legend?
I Am Legend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that because they said if you come see this, we'll show you the first 5 minutes of The Dark Knight.
That movie could have been
And
good.
Christopher Nolan was there. I saw him like leave the theater, but it's basically the bank heist at the beginning.
Yeah.
And it ends with the Joker getting on the bus and leaving. And I was like, this is going to be fucking amazing. And I was, at that point, I was still not sold on the Joker at all. I was like,
Me either. How do you top Jack
that
Nicholson?
Right.
That first image that they showed of him was a really poor choice, I thought, but it got people talking, so maybe it wasn't.
Yeah.
But it just didn't seem very good. And I was like, and my experience with Heath Ledger's work up until that point, I thought, that's a shame. He would have made a good Batman. But
Yeah, he did like A Knight's Tale and 10 Things I Hated About You.
but he'd done this one where he was a priest that was like solving a
did he
murder.
do Four Feathers?
Yeah, he'd done a lot of that kind of work
Yeah.
where I was like, he seemed
Oh
very
yeah, the priest that solved murder.
he
What
seemed very
was that?
grim and very minimal.
Was it called The Right or Last Right? Or
I
The
think
Ritual
so.
or
I think-
something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, I
Fuck,
remember
I
that.
forgot
And
about
I was
that
like,
movie.
he would have made a good Batman.
I
That's
think
a
Hopkins
shame.
is that one, isn't he?
Yeah.
Hopkins is in that one with him, I think.
Is that the one where he's like a sin eater or something? Or is that a different
I'm
movie
not
I'm thinking
sure.
of?
But
Yeah.
anyway, I remember him in that, and I was thinking, oh, that's too bad. He had made a very good Batman. It'll be a shame if they waste him on this and he's not good.
Yeah.
And boy, was I wrong, and so happily wrong.
Oh.
That he just
The Order. That's what it
killed.
was.
Yes,
There it is.
The Order.
Right.
Is it about sin eaters? What's the breakdown
A
on
young
that?
priest is sent to Rome to investigate the troubling death of the head of his order. That's all that it says. And Helgeland did this. Wow. I guess.
Yeah.
I saw that it was like on. I told you about before in college. We had just this little cylindrical. It looked like an NO2 cartridge, and you put it on our coax cable, and
Yeah.
it gave us stars.
Wow.
So you just ran it in through one end and it came out the other, and it just had the coax male female and just spit it right out. So we got stars for free. And
Oh,
that was
wow.
on stars for I think a 3-month period. I saw that like 2.5
nice.
times over the
Wow.
course of. I didn't see it in the theater. I just remember that.
Yeah.
It was like when we had the stars filter. It paid off every once again. I've seen Fifth Element about 57 times. That was on repeat for a couple of years.
If you have to see a movie 57 times, that's not a bad
At least
one.
it's
You're right.
interesting.
There are worse ones, yeah.
But anyway, so there it is. Boom. Dark Knight was our number one.
That's your number one.
Big surprise.
I figured that would be unanimous amongst the three of us. Well, it's my turn to bang. Do you want me to do that, or do you want to?
Yeah. I'll do the writing. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So clearly, Dark Knight is one.
I would say so. Logan 2.
Fine. But by the way, Dark Knight is just still my number 2. It's not like I hate the film.
Yeah.
I want to make that clear.
It just by not putting it one though, you are kind of saying.
I'm saying
You're just shitting on the grave of Heath Ledger, but
Yeah, exactly. Doing a little jig
isn't my
right on
influence
his
of me.
fucking grave, like
all
you're
right.
Ashley Simpson. The music's playing the wrong
Ashley
backing.
Simpson. Yikes. Winter Soldier is my next one. What is your next? What is yours? Next one?
I got Thor at 2. Thor Ragnarok.
What do you have?
for what? What
Your
am I-
number
I thought we
two.
were-
Three.
I thought we were
Oh,
done.
you had Logan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had 3. No, now we got to make a list between the three of us.
Yeah.
So to come
Oh,
up
okay.
with,
So
it
we're gonna
creates a
negotiate this.
consensus, and now we're building
I
an
see.
official list.
All right, so we have Dark Knight, Logan, and then
What do you have next? What's your next highest?
Superman 2, which
Nobody
no.
has.
Right.
And
Then
what do you have?
Captain
We'll go with the
America.
commonality ones.
Yeah. I
Civil
got Ragnarok
War.
at 2. Where do you guys have?
I have Ragnarok at 4.
I have it at 5.
Do we have any commonality?
Well, Winter Soldier's my 3.
It's my 3 as well, but he doesn't have it. He has
No,
Civil
you're
War.
right. So we'll have to go with Thor Ragnarok next at 3, right?
It works for me.
Okay.
Works for me.
All right. And then
Then we have Cap, Winter Soldier. But do you guys have anything higher together? Or do we? I don't.
I have
think so.
Cap Civil War.
that's
have-
my number 5.
That's my 8. Well, we all 3 have that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Civil War next.
but is X-Men Days of Future Past closer?
I got that at 10. I think we all 3 have that in our
right.
bottom.
Okay.
And,
And
I
then
think the 2 of you have that. in your
Thor
top 5.
Ragnarok was number 5 for me.
Yeah, but we have it because
Higher
of
up.
3 in
Higher
our top
up.
5.
Okay, so okay.
It would bump up
Yeah.
higher.
The common ones are what we put higher.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Civil War then seems like it'd go
So
next.
Captain America: Civil War's next after
Yeah.
Ragnarok.
I would
Okay.
say so.
All right.
So that is what is that? Number 4.
That is 4.
Do we have anything else? All 3 of us together? I don't
Well,
think so.
Days of Future Past, I think we all have, right?
Oh, that's
We
true.
all have it. Yeah.
And X2 we all have, don't we?
Yep.
Oh, do we really?
Yes.
Okay.
So do we do those 2 next?
Probably.
Okay.
Well, what's higher for you 2? Days
I
of
have
Past? Or?
I have X-Men United as number 7.
I got
what-
that as 9.
What time? Where's
X2.
your Future Past?
8.
10.
Okay, mine is Days of Future Past is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is
And
my 6.
Where is your
X2 is my 7.
Wow. So ours are flip flopped. I just got 9, 10. You got 6, 7. Where do you have them? So you'll be the deciding vote. We're canceling.
I
each
have
other out.
X2 as 7 is highest.
Okay. So
So
now we guess to
X2 is
go
next?
X2, then Days of Future Past.
Okay. All right, and then
Where
now
does that
what?
put us at?
1,
6?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes.
Well, you don't have Superman 2 yet, right? And that was your number 3?
Yeah.
Right.
Should we put that there?
Well, do we have.
Iron Man 3, Hellboy.
I have Iron
We
Man
both have
3.
Hellboy.
I have Iron Man 3.
We both have Guardians, right?
Yes, we do.
Do you 2 have any other commonality?
No.
I don't think so.
Not unless he has Iron Man 3 on there, which I don't think
I
he
have
does.
Iron Man 3 as number 9.
That's my number 9. Do you
So
have
we
Iron
have
Man
4
3?
spots left?
We have 4 spots left, yes.
And do you have anything else in your top 4 that hasn't made the list?
Winter Soldier.
Oh, shit. We don't have that? That's my number 3.
Yeah, so should we put that above?
Yeah, that should be next.
Well, next? Okay.
Because I guess it's the others we have 3
right.
people on.
Right. That's a fair point. Okay.
All right. I have Hellboy 7. Where do you have that?
10.
7, 10, and then what was it? We have
Iron Man 3 at 9.
9 also.
And what is Guardians of the Galaxy? That's my number.
that's my
8.
5. So I think 5, 8 beats. So then it would be, if my math is correct, Guardians, Hellboy, and then Iron Man 3, because you both have that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we have wider placement between the 2 on
So
the others.
Guardians of the Galaxy, then
Hellboy.
Iron Man 3.
I would say,
Oh, Hellboy.
yeah, because you 2 have Iron Man 3, but it's both really low on your
Right.
list.
So Hellboy 2 and then Iron Man 3, and that's our 10?
Does that add up to 10? I
Let's
think
see
so.
here.
So that means Superman 2 got dusted, my friend.
Yeah.
I apologize. That
One,
normally.
I'm gonna have to live with that.
6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, we have 10.
Wow, there
Let's
it
do
is. There it is. Now, you ready for production value?
Yes.
Because
What happens now?
you think you've seen certain things on certain shows? Yeah, please, please. This is where we go the extra mile for our listeners out there. And just so you know, love is put into every one of these.
Yes, love.
Are you ready?
I
Give me
love
that
it. Let's do
falsetto.
it. The top 10 comic book movie sequels, yeah.
At number 10.
Iron Man 3.
Sounds like I got a little bongo. At number 9.
Hellboy 2.
At 8.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
At number 7.
Captain America Winter Soldier.
At number 6.
X-Men Days of Future Past.
Coming in the 5 spot is.
X2 X-Men United.
And number 4.
Captain America Civil War.
At number 3.
Thor Ragnarok.
In our penultimate spot is.
Logan.
And finally, our number 1 movie is.
The Dark Knight. There it is.
Be honest, how impressive
Well-
to see, right?
Just that I didn't know what that curtain was for, and that you guys
A lot of production value.
had a bongo guy back there that whole time waiting to do this.
This thing, I mean, it's
Holy
such
shit.
fake wood. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
well.
There's no.
No.
It's very hollow for something as.
I think that's cork.
It's not even. Not even.
Not even IKEA.
Particle board.
It's like plastic particle board with a fake wood veneer.
Well, that's our list of the top 10 comic book movie sequels. Those are that's a great list. A lot of great movies. If you haven't seen any of them, definitely watch them. And I know.
So, and what happens now? Is the list sent to the Library of Congress?
Yes.
Do
Yeah,
they,
Library of
Yeah,
Congress.
they reach out.
They-
Usually,
they
the show comes
stamp
out on
it.
Tuesday. They ask for it on Wednesday.
That's right. That's right.
They sometimes send notes. We tell them to go fuck themselves.
That's right. That's why we don't take a week off.
Exactly.
Then they take you to Chili's and thanks for your help helping
No
us
problem.
sort this out.
We do a service.
I get the nachos usually. Yeah, those are
Shit,
not
I
bad
go
at
ribs
Chili's.
every time. It's on
Ribs
the-
and chilies.
Yeah, look, it's on the government's dime.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
a
fair point.
taxpayer dollar.
Exactly.
Fair point. I just can't resist those
The
nachos.
taxpayers want you to have ribs. They want you.
They
They
do.
want you.
They'd rather go to this than other things.
That's
Yeah.
fair. That's fair.
We've
That's
heard from the people.
Anyway, this is some great lists. Let us know which ones we might have missed or which ones you have an issue with. You know, you're great at tweeting us and leaving us notes or messages on YouTube, all that jazz. Thanks everybody for listening this week. I want to thank Mike Black for coming on.
Oh, it was a pleasure.
Mike, where can people find you if they want to follow you and stuff?
At Mike Black Attack on all social media. If you're a gamer, I'm at Humorous Black. So play games with me there.
Yeah, and if you're a person who collects figures, follow Mike. Mike is
Yeah,
always talking
definitely.
about this stuff, and it's I don't collect any of this stuff, but I'm always fascinated the amount of
But I
knowledge
love
Mike has.
seeing it.
Yeah, I love seeing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not a passion of mine where I would go out and hunt down, but I
Right.
get the quest.
Yeah.
And especially
Yeah.
you find like, oh man, I've wanted this since I was a kid.
If you like seeing that kind of thing, definitely
Yeah.
check out my Instagram.
Even if like, yeah, I just enjoy watching it from the outside looking
Yeah.
in.
He's a primal hunter-gatherer, man.
Yes.
That's what he does. What do you want to tell Mike? What do you want to say?
If you guys haven't voted in Thunderdome,
Theo
votes will be ending
Oh,
by the time
yeah.
you hear this at 5 p.m. So get your vote in.
Right.
Pick your favorite Josh Brolin movie of those two movies. We still haven't gotten the second one yet,
We
so I
haven't.
can't tell you
As of
what
this
it is.
recording, we
yeah,
haven't gotten the
we
second
don't
one.
know what the second one is yet. Hopefully,
Right.
we get it by tomorrow. Otherwise, might have to open the voting back or.
Which I
anyway,
hope we do. Yeah.
do another drawing. But anyway, and you can join us on Facebook.com/groups/the Top 10 Show. You can hit me up on any social media at Matt Nost, MATTKNOST, and Patreon.com/the Top 10 with the number 10.
Exactly, and we've got some Patreon subjects coming up in the next few weeks. So those of you who donated for that level, I sent an email out today as of this recording, and hopefully I'll get responses from you all. And we'll pick two topics coming up here over the next few weeks to do that, and then we'll obviously be doing more of those as the year goes on. So we are definitely listening to you guys over on the Patreon side. Thanks so much for the support. It's been increasing every month, which is really overwhelming and great.
Yeah, and we've been
so
giving them
thank
back,
you.
and we were working
Absolutely.
on hopefully something for next week, and then that'll open up, and we'll have a few different things in the pipeline within the next. My schedule's free now, and we just got to set up one meeting, and then we're done. We're good to go on a few things.
Exactly. We're definitely getting T-shirts and like I was talking to the guys at Black Series Rebels. Those guys make good money with their pins. I couldn't believe how much they make off their pins, and I'm like, we need to get in on this pins action. I don't know if we can do anything, but we need to get in on this action.
I don't
So,
know. I'll leave you in charge of finding the right pens for us.
I'll figure it out.
Please do.
But yeah, thanks everyone for listening
and we'll
this
give
week.
you one, Mike.
Yeah, we'll give
I
you
want one.
Trust me. You want our faces on you somewhere to put next to your face.
Yes.
You
It's
know?
tax deductible, I'm sure. There's,
That's what
there's
it is.
something I can.
People don't know out there know Mike wears a T-shirt with his picture on it.
Yeah, it's
A
brilliant.
lot of times, not always. but
It used
a
to
lot
be
of times.
always every
Yeah.
time I saw you, but I also always saw you in the context of performing.
Yeah,
So there
it
was that aspect of it.
that or Mitzi saying "Fire Mike Black" because
I just love that I'd seen you a couple times in down in La Jolla, and you're like, yeah, I get a new shirt done every how many ever months it was. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's smart, just in case you have facial hair or you don't.
Right,
So you're
yeah.
updating it, but I was like, wow, that's also commitment to a choice.
it was for a long time, and then it just bore no fruit. So I just now I just do it when I feel like it. You know?
Well, you had fun.
Yeah.
That's right. You had to run.
That's all that matters.
Follow Mike where he's at on all the social media stuff. Follow me at The Rocha Says, ROCHA, on Twitter and Instagram. And I think that's everything. We'll talk to you all next week on the Top 10 Show.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.